yo, what's good, yo? What is good? It has been a while, man. I think the last time I did a stream was the Caleb Maupin interview I did. So it's been a while, folks. But your boy's a working man. I'm a working man. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I hope everybody's good. Face orange biting nails. Mm. I hope that means you've been patiently awaiting my arrival. But I'm here to tell. What the fuck? What the fuck did Thanos say in fucking Avengers? What that nigga say? You couldn't deal with your own failure, so where did that bring you? Right back to me. Yeah, I'm about to make that my little catchphrase. I'm gonna change it a little bit though. I'm be like, you couldn't deal with your government's bullshit, so where did that lead you? Right back to me. Hey, yo, Thanos was a savage, bro. Thanos was a fucking savage. I know this is political shit, but let's just keep it a beam, bro. You gotta recognize gangster where it is, bro. Yo, Thanos was like the fucking Suge Knight of the Marvel universe, bro. Oh my god. But how y'all doing, man? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. We're gonna be talking about some heavy stuff, man. But the bulk of the show is gonna be talking about this Tyre Nichols stuff. Very sad thing that happened. We're gonna be talking about Israel attacking Iran, China 2025, and apparently we're going to war with them in 2025. Some fucking U.S. general said that, but we're gonna get into it. And just give some thoughts on where I'm at with the whole Russia-Ukraine conflict, going on and everything. Just some of my thoughts. But right now, but like I said, most of the show is going to be talking about this Tyre Nichols case, situation. So should be a good show tonight, guys. A lot of it's gonna be me just giving, my thoughts. I know usually I'll be showing like articles and everything. I'll be having receipts, but a lot of this is just gonna be my thoughts because I feel like y'all haven't heard from me in a while. So I've definitely been on Twitter more. I've been more active on Twitter to people who follow me on Twitter. So the American Autopsy Twitter, not my personal Twitter. So but yeah, man. This Tyre Nichols thing, bro. I actually, jeez, my feed cut out for a minute there, guys. Sorry. Watching that, it was kind of hard to watch, honestly, because yeah, that could be me. That could be any black person, but not even just a black person, as I'm going to get to, But it's just it's crazy to see how the bootlickers of the state of the police, like it's crazy to see how their brain works. How they like to frame these situations when they happen. Oh yeah, my guy Josh is gonna be hopping in once I get through all this stuff. So actually, you know what? I'm just gonna give my brief thoughts on this at the top, and then we're gonna go into the other stuff because I'm gonna be bringing Josh on to talk about it too. My guy Josh, the CEO, he's been on the stream before. So, but yeah, just my quick thoughts. It's fucked up. It's not surprising to me. This is something that's normal in the fucking United States. One of the things that always gets to me is like you saw a bunch of liberals like tweeting about this and everything. It's the same liberals though, always vote to uphold the police state. Like, and this is gonna be kind of a spicy take, especially to some black people, but I'm just gonna keep it a bean. Like police brutality is not a black issue. That's how the white supremacists want to frame it to ignorant ass white people. Straight up. It's not a black issue. This is an issue of the state putting its boot on the neck of American citizens. That's what this is. And when you frame it as a black issue, that's when they're like, oh, get out. that's why you got people like Tucker Carlson. Then you got the Coon Brigade coming out with Candace Owens, Jason Whitlock, Larry Elder, all the fucking same motherfuckers they throw in front of us. Yeah, exactly. I like this comment right here by Ashlyn, by Ashin. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. We had to stand together. We are all we got to exactly. But the white supremacists and their conservative soldiers, they like to frame it as just a black issue so they can ignore it and sometimes try to debunk it, as they always say. But like, it's a couple names that I would like you guys to know. It's a couple names. I took note of this as I was doing some, doing my due diligence and everything. Tony Tempa, Jared Lackey, Daniel Schaefer, Ryan Whitaker, Hunter Britton. What are those names that I just told you? Those are just a small list of white people that have been victims of police brutality in the form of losing their fucking lives. And when you frame it as a black issue, it walks away from the issue of the state putting this boot on the neck of American citizens. Because the way you need to talk to these ignorant ass white people when they want to bootleg the police is looking at it from the perspective of the Constitution and shit like that. Even though, look, I'm the furthest person away from the Constitution, but like, you have to point out the irrationalities within their brains to make this abundantly clear is that there's nowhere in the Constitution where it says you have to take abuse from the literal state. The whole point of the Constitution for white people when it was formed was to protect them from the state. That was the whole point of them, going fucking full retard during the American Revolution, was to get away from the power of the state of the British Crown. So if that is what the United States and the structure of the United States was supposed to be in terms of civil liberties, rights, and freedoms and things like that. And look, we all know, black people know that's fucking bullshit because we were considered less than human literally in the Constitution. But within y'all own Constitution, now that black people, we're all one now, as they like to say, we're all American citizens. Nowhere in that fucking Constitution does it say that I have to take fucking abuse from bacon boys, from police. Okay, it literally says the opposite. But this is where the historical context of black people and policing comes into play. It comes in, and how does it come into play? It comes into play because we all know that police were the origins of police stem from slave patrols. That's literally what they stem from. So that's why I would like when I see black people becoming cops and see black men and black women in police uniforms, it breaks my heart. But I now view them as the enemy, unfortunately. And it's like nowhere, and like I was saying, nowhere in that Constitution does it say that you have to take abuse from the state via their soldiers, which is the police, because that's what the police are. They're state soldiers. That's literally what they are. And it goes even deeper because as we're going to get to this video, actually I think I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna probably play it again with Josh, but it's this video with fucking Jason Whitlock. It's, like, it's just crazy. So I kind of found myself agreeing with him when it came to the Kyrie Irving stuff, but then he just went down like a whole stupid ass rabbit hole, a rabbit hole of fucking ignorance and white supremacy. But listen to what this nigga had to say.
Behaving inappropriately, including these 5 Memphis.
Everyone's behaving inappropriately. Look at these jigaboos in the street protesting. Look, man, look. Okay, comply.
Police officers. It's an open and shut case. The camera from above captures the police doing something totally illegal. The second-degree murder charges are warranted. This is going to be a revisitation of the Walter Scott, the guy that got shot on camera by a cop in the back. He got convicted, went to prison. It's open and shut case. This is too. I don't get what people are protesting about. These are 5 black officers. The victim is black. The police chief is black. The police have been fired and charged, and they will be convicted, I would assume.
So right there, that's one of the issues I have right there. Out of the litany of issues I have with this fucking nigga. Oh, this is an open and shut case. I don't know what these people are protesting for, blah, blah, blah. And hop in the chat. Let me know if you guys can hear it too. My bad. I should have checked that. But right there, this whole concept of this is an open and shut case, blah, 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 things like that. What are people protesting for? I like when it came to white people protesting lockdowns, which I'm in favor of. I'm in favor of anybody protesting lockdowns. When it came to white people protesting, mandates and things like that, I'm for that because they're expressing their right to do that. So these would be the same people that call themselves constitutionalists, oh, my freedoms, upholding American values and freedoms, literally sitting here shitting on Americans. Now, well, Josh, I meant making sure that you can hear the video. Hop in the chat, let me know if you can hear the video that I was playing. But they're exercising their right to protest because this shit keeps happening. Not just to black people, to white people. Like, and this is how he's going to go even further because you can see in what the video is called, but that they want to frame it as a black issue so they can ignore it and push it to the side and delegate the whether this was justified or not. So you'll see in some cases like George Floyd, or even with Philando Castile, they'll make all these like excuses on how this guy didn't comply. There was the other black guy they just killed too. The one that I want to say that was in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken, where that last guy was killed. Like they literally killed this guy in the middle of the fucking street. I think they tased him to death or whatever. He wanted to move into the view of the people so people could see him. He was like a teacher or some shit. but yeah, so the concept of that, the whole comply crowd, it's just like, it's very telling when they say that, because they're literally picking and choosing and delegating when police violence is righteous and justified and when it's not. When it literally in your fucking constitution, it says that it is never justified. The job of a cop is to take you to court so you can be proven either innocent or guilty. You're proven you're innocent until proven guilty, not the other fucking way around, because when it comes down to that, you're just vigilantes at that point. And and look, that's how cops view themselves. Why do you think they be wearing the Punisher symbol and all that shit? But who do they want to punish? That's what you got to sit and think about. Who do they want to punish? The American people, but specifically black people, because back when police were slave patrols, they were punishing you for running away to your freedom. Just straight like that, just keeping it a beam. And now when you get to the point where we're more in the modern context, where we're in a post-racial society, as clowns like this like to say, I call them conservatives, as they like to say, we're in a post-racial society. Why are we still talking about race? They obfuscate from the obvious issue. That's what they're doing now. Like, all the officers were black. Like, now, no, all the officers weren't black that were involved in this, but I think the two white cops or whatever that are involved they don't matter, in my opinion. I'm just keeping it a being with y'all. It don't matter that those two white cops, or one white cop was there, because what are you going to charge them with? So Ben Crump was sitting here saying, we're now finding out via Twitter and all these other things that there was a white cop there as well. Like, why does that matter? Why does that matter? And that's where I say that black people have subconsciously, like, this is how effective propaganda is on a populace, bro. This is how effective that it is, because they've brainwashed us into believing that the police are somewhat just, even in the back of people's minds, the police were justified in killing this person for X, Y, and Z reason. And now we have to base it upon racial lines. This is why I say stop framing it as a black issue, because this is not a black issue. This is a state issue. I argue more so this is a class issue, because you have some of the libertarian crowd that's out there. They don't fuck with the police state and fuck with police and law enforcement because of the fact that they're upholding the laws of the state, and the state delegates laws, whether moral or immoral. I'm against the police. I mean, partly because of that. I don't disagree and reject that 100%, but I'm against the police because I understand that police are not there to protect the state. The police are there to protect the upper class. You don't see them perp walking, like they didn't perp walk the fucking governor of Flint, Michigan, when he poisoned all those people. They didn't perp walk him. They didn't beat the shit out of him when they arrested him. Name X, Epstein. We didn't even get a fucking picture of him until later. We didn't even get a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. The people that were doing that child sex slavery ring for the rich people. They don't ever perp walk rich people when they get in trouble and beat the shit out of rich people when they get in trouble. They only do that to poor people and especially poor black people. So I recognize policing as a class issue, that police are there to um to shore up the power of the state, the powerful within a society. So and that is their whole objective and mission. Like if you when you look at police, people like to say, well, they work for us. They're supposed to protect and serve us. And it's like, no, no, no. When you look at a cop, when you go to a police precinct, I was in one when I got in trouble a while ago. On their walls, they always have what? Protect and serve. You see on their cars, protect and serve. You see them saying this all the time, protect and serve. But then below that, you see, it's protect and serve whatever county you live in or whatever state you live in. They're there to protect the state, to uphold the power of the state. And whenever in the United States, the state is class. And in most countries, that's the case. The situation is always police upholding class systems. So I like this comment as well. Most cops are sociopaths. You're absolutely right. And most of them are pussies too. Because this is what I've been saying to black people. We need to stop recording shit and we need to exercise our 2A rights. I'm not advocating violence, YouTube, Twitch, whoever it is. I'm not advocating violence. I'm advocating people exercising their rights, their God-given American rights. Like I said, I'm about to go get me a little thing, maybe 2 things. I advise you do the same. And as a community, see, like, would you, if you, when you were a kid, right? And let's say you have siblings or you have family that lived with you or lived in the same neighborhood as you or whatever. If you saw 5 people, not even cops, just random niggas, if you saw 5 niggas jumping your brother or your cousin or whatever, are you going to pull out your phone and record it? Straight up. Are you going to pull out your phone and record it? No, you were taught to jump in that shit and defend your family member. So why does that change with police all of a sudden? You see all these niggas standing around not doing shit. This is why I say that black people, we need to get back to the ideology of the Black Panthers. This is why liberals, like, this is the liberal side of white supremacy. They like to preach disarming black people. And that's when I say, fuck that shit. And situations like this is why. Because there's like the person who has the most power in any given situation like this is the person with the gun. That's just straight up what it is. So black people, I advise you to exercise your 2A rights. Understand the laws wherever you live and exercise your rights accordingly. That's what I'm going to say about that. So we're going to be talking more about this Tyre Nichols situation in the panel. Me and my guy Josh is coming in. Just trying to get a couple other people in, but I kind of did the stream late, so a couple other people couldn't hop in, unfortunately. But my guy Josh, is enough, so we're gonna be getting to that. But let me go ahead and move into these next couple stories, though, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the panel. But I just want to go over these stories real quick because I find it interesting, and then I'm gonna play the rest of that video too. The rest of that Jason Whitlock video. Let's see. Which story am I going to do next? Alrighty. So, in geopolitical news, what the hell is this? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. That's weird. Facts. Throw them hands, yo. Throw them hands. So we're going to be talking about this Israel Iran situation. So to those of you that do not know, Israel apparently drone striked Iran. Yeah. So they did a drone strike on the Iran factory. So when the story originally came out, people didn't know, we didn't know what was going on. All we knew was that there was an explosion at an Iranian facility, and at the time nobody knew who was behind it. Then all of a sudden, you know, articles, and like whenever it's the West talking about it, saying it, like Reuters is a Western publication, propaganda publication. On top of that, they've been proven to have ties to British intelligence, and they're literally funded by the British state. So they're literally state media. But whenever the West is saying it, because usually they say it's anti-Semitism to accuse Israel of anything. But no, in any of these attacks, and I'm literally like, I'm not joking when I say this. I'm being dead ass serious when I say this. Like, whenever Israel like bombs Syria, or whenever they do something to Iran or whatever, they literally like through their media brag about it. I mean, I'm actually going to show you one of their articles where they're talking about it. But they literally come out and say we did it, and they brag about it like all the fucking time, even when the United States doesn't want them to. So like a couple years back, I think like 2 years at this point, maybe a year, I forget how long ago, they assassinated an Iranian nuclear scientist. And I want to get into Iran's nuclear program a little bit. I'm gonna sum it up for you guys real quick in a minute, but just to tell the story real quick, they assassinated one of their nuclear scientists, and you can kind of tell the United States like didn't want to advertise that they were involved in it, but Israel was like, yeah, we did that shit, bro. We did that shit. So, here's the article I was mentioning, though. Israel appears to have been behind drone strike on Iran facility, U.S. official says. Now, I usually don't trust this line right here because our government are a bunch of fucking liars. But I tend to believe this again for the reasons that I just articulated. So, but drone target plant near Isfahan, no casualties. Iran cowardly attack. This is Iran saying this cowardly attack won't slow nuclear activity. Israel declines to comment. And I have an RT article about slowing the nuclear activity. I'll get to that. But Israel appears to have been behind an overnight drone attack on a military factory in Iran, a U.S. official said on Sunday. Iran claimed to have intercepted drones that struck a military industry target near the central city of Isfahan. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. It said there were no casualties or serious damage. The extended damage could not be independently ascertained. Iranian state media released footage showing a flash in the sky and emergency vehicles at the scene. A spokesperson for the Israeli military declined to comment. Arch foe Israel has long said it is willing to strike Iranian targets if diplomacy fails to curb Tehran's nuclear or missile programs, but it has a policy of withholding comment on specific incidents. Pentagon spokesperson Brigadier General Patrick Ryder said no U.S. military forces were involved and strikes in Iran, but declined to comment further. The U.S. officials were pointing to an Israeli role in the attack. Was first reported by the Wall Street Journal, citing several unidentified sources, as they always do. One U.S. official, that's what they've been doing with this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, but one U.S. official, speaking on condition of anonymity, told Reuters it did appear that Israel was involved. Several other U.S. officials declined to comment beyond saying that Washington played no role. So the rest of the article is going to go into what I was talking about, which is this. Give me 1 second to pull it up. See, man, I done lost all my skills on keeping the stories going, bro. I'm kind of rusty. Israel said readying for retaliatory attacks that could target civilians. The security establishment on Monday was reportedly bracing for a retaliatory strike. So that's admitting retaliatory. So they're admitting they did it right there. And this is from the Times of Israel as well. Following a series of attacks against Islamic Republic targets over the past several days that have been blamed on Israel. Yeah, you guys just admitted that you did it. So it's not about blame. It's about, yo, you fucking did it. Oh, you just said you did. The Khan public broadcaster reported Monday that security officials have held discussions over the past day to try to predict when and how Iran will respond to several strikes on convoys that reportedly were ferrying weapons and ammunition for Tehran-backed militias in Syria over the past 48 hours. So another thing you have to know about this situation is that when it comes to this whole stuff with Iran and Israel, is that Iran could flatten Israel if they wanted to. So part of this, the whole nuclear deal that Biden was negotiating with Iran, was that they wanted them to get rid of their ballistic missile program. So it's not about the nuclear program, because they know Iran doesn't have a nuclear program. Iran has a citizen nuclear program for nuclear power and energy. That is what they have. Nuclear power, the extent of nuclear ambitions they have is for civilian and energy purposes. But when it comes to the whole beef between the US, Israel, I mean, that goes back decades ago. But the main point of contention now is that the United States specifically knows that that Iran, if they wanted to, if the United States went to war with Iran, it's not going to be like Iraq. It's not going to be like that. Iran literally, this is according to military officials, could flatten every military base in the Middle East with their weapons if they wanted to, because Iran, they're very smart, brilliant people scientifically as well. So Iran is very capable militarily. They're not some joint the United States can just roll over, and the United States knows that. So our intelligence communities and the military, they use Israel essentially as an attack dog against Iran, and also as a shield to the public and the press, saying, look, like, Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East, so we have to support them, give them weapons, and then Israel turns around and use those weapons to attack enemies, official United States enemies within the region, whether it's Syria, whether it's Iran, and whoever else they don't like in that region. So that is what is going on right now with that. And the whole point of them pushing a nuclear deal, and part of that nuclear deal they were trying to push, where there was contention between the Iranian government and the U.S. Government, is that Iran's not going to get rid of their ballistic missile program, because that's the only thing keeping the United States and Israel and all these other countries from invading. So that's what this whole situation is about. But also you have another factor going into this now, where, and we're going to get into Russia, Ukraine a little bit, just giving my quick thoughts on that later. But just to talk about it a little bit now, the Russia-Ukraine war has accelerated the de-dollarization of the world. So to those of you that don't know, I don't know what happened just now. It keeps doing it. Sorry, guys. Hold up. Let me check and make sure my stream is good. Huh? My computer is like acting nuts right now. Hang on, guys. Acting nuts right now. Hang on, guys. Yeah, it's acting stupid. What is going on right now? Josh is enough, so we're gonna be getting. I kind of did the stream. Hang on, guys. I want to go on a break real quick, just like a 2-minute break, so I could just make sure everything is straight with the stream, and I will be right. All right, guys. Apologies for that. I just wanted to make sure the stream was good. My Wi-Fi. I have a Wi-Fi adapter because of where I'm at, so it kind of sucks. I can't like directly plug into the John, so shit blows. But we here. We still here. Let me see. All right, we should be good. All right, yeah. So like I was saying, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has accelerated the de-dollarization of the world. So you have um, you could say an alliance, or more so an economic alliance, not a military alliance, but you have an economic alliance of basically the rest of the world outside of the West. So you have this thing called BRICS, which is it stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and or I believe Iran is part of that, or they're going through the process of being a part of it as well. And part of their thing is to come to the agreement that, hey, look, the West be on some bullshit, so let's all come together and cooperate with trade and everything. I know we have differences between us, but let's put those differences aside for the sole purpose of us all eating. Everybody trying to eat in the United States is basically stopping motherfuckers from eating. So that's what this whole alliance is for. But now they're talking about creating a new currency, a new BRICS currency. So originally, I thought they were talking about using like a basket of currency. So, like for example, if China buys something from Brazil, then they buy it in Brazil's currency to bolster Brazil's currency. And if Russia buys something from Iran, then they pay for it in Iran's currency so they can bolster Iran's currency and vice versa. And that they're talking about that now. So to my niggas out there, my black people, my it's like, nah. But to everybody, and not just black people, I was making a joke, but other people notice that's essentially why Gaddafi was killed, because Gaddafi was proposing a economic United States of Africa, where let's all unite under the Libyan dinar. Let's and use our resources. Whenever we trade our resources with other countries outside of Africa, then they have to do that with this African dinar. So the Libyan dinar would essentially ascend to becoming the African dinar. My only point I would agree with that is let's just create a whole new currency, but at the same on the same token, you already have an established currency like the dinar at the time, that had industry back behind it. Like Gaddafi built one of the largest water aquifer in the fucking world, like in the world. A lot of people don't know this about Libya and Gaddafi. So a whole bunch of social and industrial projects in Libya. Like Gaddafi was really doing well by the Libyan people before Obama's ass went in there and destroyed it. Obama and that fucking big ass tub of mayonnaise Hillary Clinton went in and fucking destroyed it. So they were the richest people on they were the richest people on the African continent by far. So yeah, there's that. But that's essentially what Gaddafi was killed for, and that's what the strategy that Putin has essentially been using when it comes to dealing with the Western sanctions against Russia. So just to run through that real quick, when Russia went into Ukraine, when they did their special operation in Ukraine, basically the West was like, hey, since you guys invaded Ukraine, we're going to put sanctions on you. And it started with, just basic financial and economic sanctions. Then as the war progressed and went on and Ukraine was getting its ass kicked more and more, the West upped that to a flat out ban on Russian fossil fuels, oil, all of that shit. Now, if you know anything about the strategy of the United States and how the United States views the rest of the world, including its partners, the United States doesn't have partners. The United States has people that either bends the knee to us or you fucking die and we come and take what we want anyway. That is how the United States treats its allies. That is what it is currently doing to Europe right now. The United States recognizes that it doesn't have any competition to the industrialization of China and even Russia and all these other up and coming industrializing nations. So they said, "Hey, Europe, you have a nice industrial sector over there. Give me that shit." So now if you're paying attention, you're reading all these articles about all of these European companies coming and setting up shop in the United States. Basically, like the United States is trying to take the industry from there with the added caveat of driving down wages in the United States. and driving down the way. Like, so in Europe, they're heavily unionized, or the government is heavily involved with negotiating wages for workers in their countries and everything. So wages are significantly higher, were higher in Europe in these industrial sectors than in the United States. So now they're basically coming here. So everything they said about China being, the Chinese people are wage slaves and all that, like that's what they're basically trying to do to the United States. They're trying to bring their industries over here, pay shit wages to Americans, and say, "Hey, look, we gave you guys jobs." And then at the same time, they can try to, compete with the industrial might of, a Russia or a China. But it's not going to work, though. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work. But that's essentially what they're doing to Europe. And also, if you read John Bolton's book, and it's a couple other like military papers you can read out there about, America, what America's geopolitical strategy should be and all that. But it's the added benefit that they're trying to keep Europe and Russia apart, specifically Germany and Russia, because historically Germany and Russia have been at each other's necks. That's why it's so crazy that we're witnessing Germany sending tanks to Ukraine so they can attack Russia. Like last time that happened, it was this little thing called World War II. Millions of people dead, so hundreds of millions of people dead. So, 30 million Russians alone. So I hear some people talk about like 60 million. So, like, there's not a Russian person today that lives in Russia that didn't lose a family member in World War II when the Nazis invaded Russia, which was then the Soviet Union. So, just think about that. But so Russia said, "All right, bet." Um, oh yeah, where I was. John Bolton has in his book where he talks. They view Europe as a threat, and the relationship with Europe and specifically Germany and Russia, where they're supplying, um, liquid natural gas, so LNG, just regular fossil fuels to Europe via Germany. Um, they view that as a threat because it makes Europe more independent and pushes them out of the sphere of the United States. So Europe will start looking around like, what's the whole point of this NATO thing? We don't have a problem with Russia. They give us free, and that's where um Germany was starting to trend to. So when Trump was in office, one of the things, and this is why I say Trump is as big of a warmonger as Biden. I think Biden is more of a warmonger, but when people try to pretend Trump wasn't that, it's hilarious to me because one of the main things Trump did was sanction the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And Angela Merkel, fuck her, but at least she was defending that. She was like, yeah, this our lifeblood, bruh. This shit is how we eat. Fuck you, Nord Stream 2 will progress. And they finished the pipeline, of course, but they didn't get to the point of turning it on. And then the Ukraine situation happened. The Russia's special operation in Ukraine happened, and the project was shut down indefinitely. There's actually this famous video of Joe Biden and Olaf Scholz, who's the current prime minister of Germany, where the reporter's asking Biden about Germany, like, what are you going to do when Germany turns on a Nord Stream 2? The Nord Stream 2 will not turn on. And you just see like Olaf Scholz looking like, Nikki, you're speaking for my country. And Biden was like, we promise you. And what did they do? A couple months later, they bombed that shit. I don't care what anybody says. The United States bombed the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Because as Germany, as I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Bahadur R, just said, Germany is in recession. Why is that? Because they don't have the cheap fossil fuels that they were getting from Russia anymore. That is why. So the United States is, their strategy is working with Europe. They're essentially deindustrializing Europe. And you have some people that bring up the World Economic Forum's agenda of deindustrialization, pushing all this like green energy bullshit that's not sustainable for the amount of energy that we consume. So you have the agendas like that. I don't think that's the sole purpose. Like, you have some people that try to frame that as the sole reasoning for why, but I think it's a competition and a basket of reasonings and agendas going into this. But I think that plays a major factor in that you have all these Western billionaires and shit talking about, this deindustrialization of the world. We have too many useless eaters. That's what they like to call a lot of us, basically. So very sinister shit going on with that. But the United States has successfully, played Europe into pushing away their lifeblood, basically, which was cheap Russian fossil fuels. And now Europe has to import overpriced fossil fuels from us. So who's getting bolstered by this war in Ukraine? Our fossil fuel companies. So that's a major factor playing into this war. It was a major factor playing into the Syrian war as well. Robert F. Kennedy actually wrote, Robert Kennedy. I don't know if his middle name is Robert F., but he wrote a great article about this. Like I think I covered it on the channel like years ago, like a couple years back, 2 years back. So like my earliest work on YouTube. So, but Russia responded to that, to the sanctions and all that, by basically saying, all right, bet. So at the time, Europe would send Russia euros because Russia was, they weren't sanctioned from the European economy at the time, so they would use euros. But now that they were sanctioned, they can't use those euros. I think the United States seized like a couple $1 billion in Russian assets, I believe. Like, hold on, let me Google this shit real quick. United States seized Russian assets. $30 billion. So they basically stole $30 billion from Russia. So Russia's looking around like, all right, like this economy is clearly not working for us. So here's what you're going to do, Europe. We're not accepting euros anymore. If you buy us, you have to buy it in rubles. You have to buy it in Russian rubles. The EU said no, fuck you. Russia said, all right, fine, send your euros. What we're going to do is we're going to take your bullshit euro, we're going to convert it to rubles, and then we're going to pay for the gas for you in rubles. And that is what they've been doing ever since, basically. And that has bolstered the Russian ruble. It's the highest it's ever been, even before the war in Ukraine started. So that's good. You have the United States running around talking about, oh, our sanctions is starving. So they're literally bragging about starving Russian people. The sanctions we put on Russia is starving the people. No, it's not. You know why it's not? Because Russia's economy is actually backed by commodities. So the United States' economy is all based on financial shit. It's all based. They essentially, I would say, in the early 70s began the process of transitioning us from an industrial economy, which we were the house of the world, into a service economy and all this banks and all this bullshit. So and hear that in the United States, we don't really make anything anymore. We're a services economy. That's what we do. So we make money off of other money, all of the, like, just imagine like Gary Vee and what all these niggas do. That's like the United States is one big social media influencer, basically. Like, a product made in China or made in Sri Lanka or wherever else. That's what the United States is. That's why I find it kind of funny that, like, you hear a lot of conservative people say we don't want our children to be social media influencers, blah blah blah. But it's like, bruh, that is essentially what your fucking what your economy has, what you guys have done. It started with, not started, but Reagan was a big proponent in pushing us into that. And right, Jay Carey brings up that, oh, that's my guy Jay. It was good, Jay. He brings up in 1971, Nixon ended the gold standard. Exactly. What did Nixon also do in 1971? He made that deal with China, so China would open up its markets to the United States. So that's exactly right, Jay. That's another point as well. So, this has been a process of converting the United States into from an industrial based economy to a services based economy. And that put us at a disadvantage because now, and I'm not advocating this war with Russia. I think it's stupid, but I'm saying to get into the mindset of the American imperialist, they can't compete. They can't do anything to Russia because Russia can feed itself. Russia can produce its own energy. Russia can make its own clothes. Russia is doing all the shit, and whatever else it doesn't need, it can get from its partners that fuck with it. So it can go to China and get whatever it doesn't need. It can go to Iran and get whatever it doesn't need. That's why they're trying to sanction Iran and China now, because they know that they can't do anything to Russia. So Russia is basically Teflon because of how they have structured their economy wisely over the years. And I'll make an argument for that as a communist. I'm not saying Russia's communist. We all know Russia's not communist. Putin is not a communist. I would argue Putin is an anti-communist, but the reason why I wouldn't say he's an anti-communist is because he stands by communist countries. So he's standing by Venezuela. He's standing by Cuba. He's standing by China. All of these communist countries around the world, he stands by. So that's why I wouldn't say he's an anti-communist. He just doesn't prefer communism for his country. And when you look at, they have free healthcare there. They have all types of shit. They live a better standard. They have a better standard of living in Russia than in the United States. So when you look at it, like, from that perspective, the state controls and runs the important resources in that country. So the state, which is in Russia, it's the oil. So it's very, very interesting shit when you break down the difference, the economics within each of these countries. Very fascinating shit. But that is essentially what's going on with the United States, right? Or with the United States, with what the United States is doing right now, and in terms of the economy and how they're trying to crush Russia economically. But now with Iran, and all these countries and all, basically the global South, are getting together and creating a new currency that is accelerating the de-dollarization of the world. So I say this all the I've been thinking, when I say this, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I guess I'll propose it here on the channel. What's it like? What did it look like when Rome fell? When it could no longer sustain itself economically. Now add nuclear weapons into that equation. I'm making the argument basically that the United States right now is a child that can't get its way. And what does a child do when it can't get its way? It throws a temper tantrum. But unfortunately, the world is in a circumstance where that child has the second largest nuclear stash in the world. And they're currently lashing out at the largest nuclear weapons stash in the world. That's a very dangerous thing to think about, because I'm saying this all, they're not going down without a fight. The ruling class here in America, like, you have the globalist, so you have the American globalist that can exist. Like, you have your Jeff Bezoses, your Elon Musks, all of these globalist billionaires that will be okay. They can weasel their way into other people's markets, but those American ones, where like a lot of their wealth hinges here in American market, they're not going to let that shit go. The military industrial complex ain't going to let that shit fly. So I'm like, that's where we're at a point now where they're talking about sending F-16s, and they're sending tanks. They kind of tricked Germany into sending tanks, but to Ukraine to fight Russians. And it's like, we're in a weird place right now, bro. We're in a very weird place right now. So that's why I wanted to talk about this Iran thing, because I think it's a further, you're seeing lines being drawn, and you're seeing countries pick a side. Africa, for the most part, minus a couple of countries, by the way, just to speak on Africa, they're with Russia. Bro, they with Russia. Like, you see the differences in how they don't respect the United States. They don't fear the United States anymore. They really don't. Aside from the countries that are colonies of the European powers, but for the most part, they're not afraid of the United States anymore. They're not afraid to speak out and call their bullshit where it's bullshit. So you're seeing lines drawn akin to what I would say. This is more akin to what happened in World War One than World War Two. You got a lot of liberals that like to cry about Putin's the new Hitler. Everybody was fucking Hitler to liberals, bro. Everybody. But you're seeing lines drawn, and it's scary. It can be scary to watch, but when you understand what's happening, it's not surprising. I'm not scared, bro. Look, we all got to go at some point. Just make sure I go out in the first blast. That's all I gotta say. In the first nuke, drop this bitch right on top of Delaware and let me go first, bro. Because I ain't trying to live in the aftermath. Nigga, I played Fallout. Nigga, I ain't trying to be fighting mutants and shit. Fuck, I look like fighting mutants, bro. By the way, this is a quick sidebar. I'm currently drinking Douce and Coke. I had to be a little bougie. I'm making a little bit better money at the current job I'm at, so I could buy a little bit more shit. But I never realized how good like dark liquor is with Coke, bro. And I usually don't. The soda Coke, not cocaine. The soda Coke. For Jesus Christ. But Very, very tasty, man. I used to drink Captain and Coke when I was younger, but I stopped drinking Captain Morgan because I turned 20. I feel like if you're still drinking Captain Morgan past 20, like you need help. Bro, you need real help. But yeah, so just a quick sidebar because it was very tasty, very good. But yeah, so that is what's going on with Iran and Israel right now. Israel is basically, in my opinion, being allowed to do certain things. Because the United States is a child lashing out right now. And that is what's going on. So very interesting stuff going on. I need to do a stream specifically about Turkey, bro. Because Turkey is fascinating. I just thought about this so Turkey, if you guys know, Turkey is frenemies with both, I would say frenemies with the United States. You can use frenemies for Russia too. They're frenemies with Russia too, because they'll do certain things that piss off Russia, but they'll do things that piss off the Americans in the West as well. And Turkey's a NATO country. They're actually blocking Sweden, I believe, from getting into NATO, which is crazy that bro, you're seeing earth shattering things that happen even during the Cold War, bro. Like I want to put this in perspective for y'all. Even during the Cold War, a situation which like we're seeing in Ukraine right now never happened at the hottest points of the Cold War. Shit like what's going on, like the proxy war, what's going on in Ukraine right now, never fucking happened. Just think about that, bro. Think about that. Living in crazy times right now. And I guess that could be a perfect segue. And it going on. What's good, Brody? How you doing? How you doing, Brody? This is from Twitch. I'm live streaming on Twitch too. If you have the description, I will be down there. Oh yeah, I've been told I should do this more, but I always forget to do this. But guys, this is like a little. I got to plug the show. You feel me? Got to keep the lights on. So I'm going to say this, guys. If you can, it would be great. If you have the description below to help keep the show going. Just if you can contribute to the show a little bit, it helps out a lot. Keeps the lights on, keeps the show going. Helps me, just get better equipment and everything like that. We got Cash App. You could go show love on Patreon, wherever you can show love. It would be greatly appreciated if you can do that. I've been told I got to plug the show. I'll be forgetting, bro, because I'll be getting niggas know I like to fucking talk, bro. Anybody that knows me knows I like to fucking talk, especially when it comes to politics and shit. I like to fucking talk, so I'll be forgetting about shit. But yeah, so if you can just hop down in the description below and do that, show love down there, it will be greatly appreciated. But also, to everybody watching, go follow me on Twitch too, because I'll stream on there. I'm actually about to be on my other channel. I'm about to be streaming game, doing gaming stuff and everything. So, but down there, greatly appreciate it. Everything's in the description. Let me see. Oh yeah, I guess we're gonna move right into this whole Russia Ukraine, or no, this China. Actually, you know what? We already did Russia. We talked about Russia Ukraine. So my overall thoughts on that is what I said previously. So let's talk about this China 2025 Johnsky, which is crazy. Again, so like I said, the United States. Wait, what? What does that mean, bro? Let the ladder 23. I think that's how you say it. Who's phase Jason? I don't know who that is, bro. My name's Bendu. My name Bendu. That's my name, bro. I don't know who that is that you're talking about. So we can go ahead and get Josh in here too, because we still got to do our little. We're gonna have our panel talking about shit. But what am I looking for? Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing it. All right, so we're gonna talk about China 2025. So the United States is not only trying to start a nuclear war with Russia. See, the United States is a special kind of stupid because they want to start a war with two nuclear powers, Russia and China. Fucking crazy, bro. Unreal. This shit is unreal, bro. Air Force General predicts war with China in 2025. Tells officers to prep by firing a clip at a target and aim for the head. Jesus Christ. These are the people we allow to be in charge, bro. These are the fucking maniacs that we allow to be in charge. It's fucking nuts, bro. It's fucking nuts. But let's get into overall. This is from NBC News, MSDNC to be exact. MSDNC, not MSNBC, MSDNC, because they're controlled by the Democratic Party. But let's get into it. A 4-star Air Force general sent a memo on Friday to the officers he commands that predicts the U.S. will be at war with China in 2 years and tells them to get ready to prep by firing a clip at a target and aim for the head. In the memo sent Friday, obtained by MSNBC, General Mike Minahan, head of Air Mobility Command, said, "I hope I am wrong. My gut tells me we will fight in 2025. Oh yeah, like your gut, you meaning like all of the money you're getting to combat China, all of the money Congress, that by the way, Congress, by the way, in a bipartisan manner, giving money to combat China. Yeah. It's like that. Air Mobility Command has nearly 50,000 service members and nearly 500 planes and is responsible for transport and refueling. Minahan said in the memo that because both Taiwan and the U.S. will have presidential elections in 2024, the U.S. will be distracted and Chinese President Xi Jinping's opportunity to move on Taiwan. All right, that right there is fucking retarded, bro. I'm sorry. That's just dumb. So let me explain this to you. It's not even going to take long. It's literally going to be a sentence. Taiwan is part of China. It's that simple. Taiwan is part of China. So they've been pushing to you in the media about how Taiwan is this independent nation. It's not. Taiwan is part of China. What ended up happening was after in 19 what year was it? Hold up. Because I want to get my years right. So China had a civil war between the capitalist entities in the country that was the ruling party, really an imperialist fascist regime in China at that point, versus Mao and the communist, the communist. China, the communists won out in China. The fascist elements fled to Taiwan and basically like instituted a military dictatorship in Taiwan for like 20 years or something like that. And the United States protected them from the communists in China that won out. They literally did like a what is it called, a barricade in the South China Sea. Like the United States had ships and everything, violating China's sovereignty and all that. Very similar thing that happened in the Soviet Union as well. A lot of people forget the Soviet Union. The United States, like literally the Soviet Union was invaded by like, I think like a dozen different countries. Like you had American troops, French troops, all troops in Russia during the Red Revolution that came in when Russia was having its civil war as well. The Soviet Union was having a civil war. So, but same thing happened with China. And I like to tell people. To think about when the Confederates were losing in the Civil War. Imagine if when the Confederates were losing, Britain stepped in, a country out, across the ocean. Britain stepped in and basically formed an embargo around, I don't know, let's say Cuba, just because it's right there. Let's say they formed an embargo around Cuba, and treaties were never signed. Things never happened to properly end the war. That is essentially what happened with Taiwan and China. And previously Taiwan was like a imperialist colony of Japan. So it's like, dude, Taiwan has an interesting history. So this argument, he's literally framing it in the argument that the Biden administration and the former Trump administration was pushing, that Taiwan is not part of China. Officially on paper, the United States is part of China. They believe in what's called the one China policy. But for geopolitically the top dog in the world, they're using Taiwan as basically a thorn in China's side, basically, to destabilize the country essentially. And it's not going to work. All that's going to happen is there's going to be a bunch of unnecessary deaths, and you're going to see a similar situation play out to what's playing out in Ukraine right now. But and this is not the shit on Putin, and the Russians are very smart, calculated people. But I think the Chinese are going to handle it a different way, because it almost happened when Pelosi was doing her trip to Taiwan, and now McCarthy is doing a trip. Like, I want y'all to imagine this. When Pelosi took that trip to China, imagine the third person in charge of China, Xi. I forget the guy who's below Xi, but you have Xi Jinping, you have the guy below Xi, and then you have the guy below that guy, the third in charge of China. Imagine they flew to Puerto Rico and said, "Hey, I know you guys want to be free, so here's some weapons to help you with that." That's essentially what the United States is doing with Taiwan. Now, in that scenario, do you think the United States would sit back and allow that to happen? No. So the fact that China has been dealing with this situation, I think, is a benefit to the world, because the flip side of that is nuclear war, is nuclear holocaust. And that's what I keep trying to explain to people when I say statements like what I'm about to say now. China and Russia actually care about human life when it comes to the rest of the world, contrary to what you may believe. People like to tell you these are fascist, dictatorships and regimes, and China's a communist dictatorship regime, whatever the fuck. If they were what you were describing them as, we wouldn't be here right now, because they've been tolerating a lot of shit from the United States. And especially with this Ukraine thing, like, we're on the precipice right now, bro. We're on the like, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, has said this. Everybody has said this. We're on the precipice right now of nuclear annihilation. So, but that is essentially the relationship between Taiwan and China. Part of China. I don't know if you guys remember when John Cena didn't say this, and because Hollywood wants a lot of their films in China, he had to apologize for it, and a lot of people saw him as a bitch for doing it. But that would be like if John Cena came out and said that Hawaii isn't part of the United States. If, like, let's say the Chinese equivalent, that would be like if Yao Ming came here and said, "Yo, like, Hawaii's not a part of the United States." The United States would have a fucking problem with that. And if Yao Ming wanted to continue to peacefully play in the United States, he would probably have to apologize and retract his statement. It's nuts, bro. It's so nuts. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Like I said, technical difficulties. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But um, let's see if we can get the article back up and finish it up, so we can go ahead and move into the panel with my guy Josh. All right, here we go. So yeah, on the whole Taiwan thing, but he lays out his goals for preparing, including building a fortified, ready, integrated, and agile joint force maneuver team ready to fight fight and win inside the first island chain. The signed memo is addressed to all Air Wing commanders and Air Mobility Command and other Air Force operational commanders and orders them to report all major efforts to prepare for the China fight um, to Minihan by February 28th. During the month of February, he directs all AMC personnel to fire a clip into a 7-meter target with the full understanding that um, unrepentant lethality matters most. Aim for the head. He also orders all personnel to update their records and emergency contacts. In March, he directs all AMC personnel to consider their personal affairs and whether a visit should be scheduled with their servicing base legal office to ensure they are legally ready and prepared. Minihan urges them to accept some risk in training, run deliberately, not recklessly. He writes, hold on, let me see. So yeah, you basically get the gist. This guy is saying, "Yo, look, nigga, it's about to go down." That's what he's saying right now, and that is fucking nuts to think about. So Jay, my guy Jay brought up a great point here. Doesn't China make a lot of money off American commerce? They do, but it's not to the extent that they need American commerce. You look tired and bored. Well, Chuck Norris doesn't run on gas. Only fear. That's funny. But doesn't China make a lot of money off American commerce? Yes, they do, but not to the so they do, but China again, because China is an industrial base, they can get any supplies that they don't have, they can get from Russia if something economically were to. So if the United States said, "Yo, we're not buying shit from China anymore," which is never going to happen, but we're not going to buy shit from China. Fuck them. If the whole Western world said that, they don't need the Western world. So the United States, China could cut off America if it wants to completely. If they wanted to, they could and be fine. It's going to hurt, in the immediate, but in the long run, they'll be good. It's America that will be hurt the most from that. So that's why, like, China's message has always been peace, cooperation, and respect of sovereignty and culture. That's all China has been fucking saying the whole time. And the United States can't seem to commerce, I think the raise. But yeah, so that's that's what China has been saying. So Jay, that was a good question, but yeah, that like they do, but again, they can do without that commerce, and a lot because again, they actually have a socialist basis. They have a safety net for their people if some kind of economic turmoil and downturn can happen, and they also plan. They have 5-year plans within their economy. They plan like they're. That's why I tell people, China is a socialist country. Their economy is people driven, not profit driven, and that's what the United States really. I think that's what they really don't like. And then to add on top of that, you have white supremacy within there as well. They don't want to see a bunch of Asians doing well, and yeah, so that's actually some of my we'll get into that on the panel with my guy Joshy. So just to wrap that up, I'm going to go ahead and wrap that panel up. I want to go throw a card up real quick, go on a quick break, get my guy Joshy set up, get everything set up, and we're going to come back and do our panel. So just stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, I'm back. We got my guy Joshy on for the panel, so we about to go ahead and get it, bro. Let's get it. What's good, Brody? Yo, yo. Hold up. You may have to turn your volume on, bro. We can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me, bro?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now.
All right, good, good, good. What's going on, bro? What's going on with you? What's going
Chilling,
on?
bro. Chilling. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm good, man. I just been, good show so far as well. I just been tuned in. I'm happy to be here. Like we was crazy that you're actually streaming. I was telling you, like, yo, with everything that's been going on, you got to do a stream. You got to do a stream. So I'm actually happy that you know, that I'm here. We here. So I've been anxious to talk to this, and shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to my boy Dalton. He's watching with me as well. Making
Word,
sure everything is
word.
cool. Shout out to my homie Ashlyn. She's in the comments.
So it is
Watching as
Ashley.
well. Yep, correct,
Okay.
Ashlyn. Yep,
Okay. Okay.
correct. Shout out. And then there's everybody that's been tuned in across all platforms. I even seen you on Twitch, I know you on Facebook and everything. So appreciate everybody. I know it's late, but it's never
Yeah.
too late to stay informed. I feel like when it comes to topics such as the ones you always talk about, especially the ones that you've been discussing thus far, I feel like these things need to be low key in a way thrown in people's faces to where they can not only be educated and informed about it, but so they can also build their own opinions and bases around it too. Because a lot has happened, a lot has been unfolding in the political realm in the
Well, let me
last.
before you continue.
Mhm. Go ahead, bro.
I do want to toot my own horn real quick, bro. Nigga, I'm the best black foreign policy motherfucker out this bitch, bro. You heard,
Talk
nigga.
heavy, bro.
I was just thinking about how I was breaking down all of the geopolitics. Do you think I broke it down in an informative way for
Now
people?
you break it down to a surface level, and I think that's important because a lot of people who want to start really learning and educating themselves on politics and what goes on in the world, whether it's foreign policy or relations between one country to another and whatever else all wraps around politics and policy. A lot of people just get lost in the sauce when it comes to it, whether it's the usage of big words or just how complex certain situations can be, but the way that you break it down, I feel like is good. It helps me understand for sure. Um, and also my roommate, I don't know if you heard him. Shout out to Dalton. He said he agrees as well. I just feel like over time you've gotten tremendously better at just how you articulate yourself. And the thing is, you're you. You don't try to step on anybody else's toes. You don't try to take something out of Don Lemon's bag, or you don't try
I
to
smell
be.
marijuana here. I smell like marijuana, Josh.
But nah, man, it's definitely happy to see the growth and the progress that you've been having with the podcast. So definitely big ups to you and all of your
Thanks, bro.
other Topsy, of course, and all of your other Topsy family members and things of that nature that you have that support you as well. So
Word,
definitely
man.
good to see.
So what you trying to get into first, man? I know we gotta talk about Tyre Nichols and everything, but what
I mean,
specific
we
aspect?
we I mean, we can deep dive and just bounce off of each other. To be honest, first and foremost, before we get into this, I do want to send my heartfelt condolences and best wishes to the Nichols family first and foremost, and
Yeah.
I do want to send before we even get into the actual surface of the situation, I do want to literally yeah, I agree, Jay. Shout out to Jay. I just peeped his comment. A lot of people are distracted by the culture war. That's definitely big, 100%. One thing I do want to say, and this is to not only just the people of the city of Memphis. I do have constituents and friends and fellow acquaintances that do live in the Memphis and surrounding areas within Tennessee, some of the urban areas around there and within Memphis. It's the tension's so thick you can cut it with a knife right now. It's not even so much that you can say, not to necessarily to piggyback what off of what Jason Whitlock said. This is an open and shut case. This is an open and shut situation, but I feel like for this being like kind of putting a band-aid on one wound, this just exposed a whole shitload of other wounds that are being exposed to the general public. And one thing that I do want to say that is of extreme urgency to take, and I want to take something out of Malcolm's book or take a page out of Malcolm's book. Now is the time. There shouldn't even be no second thoughts when it comes to citizens um, using their amendment rights to bear arms. And even if we have to do things like, as I like to say, even if you have to do things like the back road kind of way or the dirt road kind of way, in other words, you got to take matters into your own hands. Enough is enough. There's not no political take. There's not no political stance. There's not no there's nothing outside of this that does not revert back to common sense and just trying to be decent human beings. And I say that to say that because there's no way in hell that anyone, regardless of color, political identity, mindsets, anything, you can live two different lives. You can be straight, you can be gay, in between, doesn't matter. There is no way in hell that video doesn't make your stomach turn. Even when I've seen it, and I didn't even watch the whole thing, I just seen like small clips, and even that was
I
a
didn't even
lot for
see
me.
that. I didn't even see the
And
high camera angle where they were
mhm.
holding them and they were literally taking like turns, punching him in the face and shit, bro. I didn't even see
Yes,
that
and
shit, bro. That is
that's
crazy.
alarming. Like the thing is we've all, I'm pretty sure all of us here that's in the comments that have been tuned in, we've all probably had a not so nice encounter with a police officer. And I look at things like this, and I hate to use the race card per se, but I have to, in my opinion, call it for what it is. I had this discussion with my boy, with my little bro, shout out Cree, and also with my roommate, shout out Dalton as well. I had this conversation and I said that from my perspective and from a lot of the things I went through, it hurts my soul to even say this because we grew up with the notion of I want to be a firefighter one day. I want to be a cop one day. And you don't second guess that being a 5-year old in kindergarten. You just think, oh, okay, I see these cool action packed type of jobs. I want to be in that field. I want to make a difference. And there is a lot of people that want to make a difference, but I feel like the image and the just the all around message and the image of what it is to be a police officer and police as an actual system is shitty. It's shot, but it
But
has
that's
been
the
this way.
but that's
Mhm,
the point. But that's the point of though of the media pushing that, whether it's the
mhm.
news or movies or TV shows, because it's like everybody calls it as propaganda. That's literally what it is. And
No,
most
the big time, big time.
people, yeah, like nigga, I grew up fucking with Mike Lowry, bro, Will Smith and Bad Boys, Martin Lawrence, ha cop, the sense of humor, this, that, and the third, blah blah. But
Yeah,
it's like
like
even if you watch those movies, though, these niggas are literally committing acts of police brutality. Even the scene where they had the shootout with the Haitians and shit, right? That first of all, y'all went in there without notifying your higher ups that you were going. Like, there's a whole bunch of shit in those movies. And then on top of that, like Martin Lawrence gets mad at the guy when he kicks him in the face and shit. Like, bro, that's it right there. But we thought it was cool because it was Martin Lawrence doing it, and that's their goal. That's what they want you. That's the programming, especially of black police officers early on. It's framing the poor and impoverished as evil ramble that we have to control and protect from our communities and shit like that, because that's the original mindset of the white people and the slave patrols. That's what the original mindset was. If we don't control these animals, then they're going to come after us and our shit. And that's what it's about. And I think the root of it as well, because I see a lot of people, like it's a lot of black like conservatives, libertarians out there that are talking about it
mhm.
from this perspective. But we need to take property out of the mindset of black people, and we need to. And what I mean by that is, I'm just going to say it. You already know how I give it up. We need to eradicate the idea of black capitalism out of our minds, because it allows you to dehumanize people on the basis of property.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's the whole. And not, I agree, and that's the whole premise of it all. It's the fact that I'm glad you said that. I just watched the interview the other day with Dick Gregory, and he basically said the same thing you said in simpler terms. It's the fact that a lot of blacks preach we want to have a community when they don't even understand the premise of having a community. You have to have people who are willing to put certain egos to the side for the greater good of everyone that is within that sector of the community. which means you can't sit here and pick and choose who you want to be your leader. You can't sit here and pick and choose who handles the food and growing of the food, or who's going to run the hospitals and all that. Work together as a unit. The thing with being in a community is the simple fact that you have to have literally um, a community people, but people don't even want to sit there and even do that. They want to sit there and have their egos get in the way of that, and before you know it, you're self-destructing yourself, and that is just the bad. That is just bad, and it's like people get so mad when you see the Native Americans stick together and do it, the Hispanics stick together and do it, and even though it's been a long time coming for them and things still have to be changed, it's just the simple fact of they do it. It's literally that simple. Just like Nike, they just do it. It's just like if it was a game of Survivor and it was race against race. You have Indians.
But let's keep it a beam. Let's keep it
Mhm.
a beam though. Let's keep it a beam. You have this narrative, and you're kind of not pushing it because I don't want to say that, but you're kind of like saying it. But I push back on this narrative that black people don't want to be a community. I'm saying black people are not allowed to be a community because when it comes to every fucking group, even white people, Jewish people, black people
Mhm.
are the best at forming communities and forming economic bases. Why do you think Africa and Ghana and all these African countries are telling African Americans, specifically in the African diaspora, to come back home? Because we are the wealthiest base in the black diaspora. That is why. So that is why they fear us building communities, because strong communities, because we can actually challenge the system of white supremacy and challenge other groups. You know, I'm not,
Mhm.
they will remain unnamed. You already know what I'm talking about, and challenge
Yeah.
other groups and challenge other groups when it comes to the economics. They don't want us to do that. So that is why we are not allowed to. That is why you have a control of, you know, every black cultural standpoint. I said this on one of my TikTok and one of the streams where I put it on my TikTok too. Black people are not allowed to have cultural sovereignty and economic liberation. Those are two things black people don't have that every other fucking group in the country is allowed to have, whether they're Mexican, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Asian, whatever the fuck it is. Black people aren't allowed to have that because the white supremacist structure in America understands that when we get that, we excel and even challenge their power, and they cannot fucking allow that. The other groups come here and bend the knee to that power structure. Shouts out to the brothers and sisters from those groups that don't do that. You feel me? Because we do have allies. Like a lot of people like to say we don't have allies in these groups. The problem is we don't have allies from those groups with actual fucking power. That's the
Right.
problem. So at that point, it's like, what's the point of it? You know, I wouldn't necessarily go that far personally, but like, and then you have these people online and everything that get mad at you for acknowledging this. Like one of the things, Doctor, I think his name is Dr. Claude Anderson, talks about this all the time, and
Mhm.
I disagree with him on the basis of this is how white supremacy, which is basically capitalism. This is how capitalism has framed it. But the reason, like, you got to look at race as just that, a race of different groups, and that is what it is in the West. And right now, black people are losing badly. We're losing badly, and as a communist, I can sit here and disagree with that and say we need to abolish that. You know, we need to get rid of it, but not acknowledging it in the first place is utterly ridiculous. And that's what a lot of white
No, no, I
people
agree.
want you to do. They want you to do that. And it's crazy to me, bro. That is crazy to me.
No, I agree. And to piggyback off of what you said, bro. No, I see. I feel like with what you said, it's kind of like running, or it's like running like a relay race where you pass the baton to your next teammate and then they take it off. I feel like what you said gets the ball rolling, but I feel like where I come in with the concept and the notion of that, when it, like if it was like a game of Survivor, that a lot of blacks, and not saying all, but a vast majority might be arguing over, well, who's going to lead in this, that, fourth, for the fifth, not really knowing that, okay, we might not have all the answers, but let's just get going and figure it out as we go along, and then we can just discuss as we go along. I look at it as, you know, and just to go right into the situation. So, give or take. So
Well,
from I've been.
real quick,
Mhm.
real quick. Even with what you said though, like the whole division between black people who gonna lead this and that. You have literally these. This is why I can't get fully on board with the ADOS and FBA niggas. They are questioning who's FBA and who's not in this group. Literally, who's ADOS and who's not in this group? Who's descended from the slaves that were here in America? Are you fucking serious right now, bro? Are we really doing this right now, my nigga? Is this what we're doing right now? That's some straight goofy shit, bro. Oh, real shit. Like Tariq Nasheed was one of them the main ones doing it, bro. I'm like, you straight. This nigga, man. I like even somebody like Dr. Umar that I like. I recognize that these niggas are fucking characters at the end of the day. Unfortunately, you know, they say a lot of good things for black people, and I agree with some of the things they say. Umar, somebody I agree with, because he's more in the Pan-African mindset as opposed to like Tariq Nasheed, who's stuck in this just American thing. Like, nah, like y'all niggas, we need to recognize that. Like they reject the class analysis that I talk about all the time on this channel. They reject that, you know, this like they equate the poor white motherfucker and fucking they equate Eminem's, you know, poor white trash from trailer parks and all that to Jeff Bezos. You feel me? And that's fucking retarded. You have to recognize the class analysis and how racism expresses it rears its head in different races. But continue with Richard. I didn't mean to cut you off that long.
Oh no, I agree with everything you said. And just to 'cause I wanted just to keep it on with what's going on, just to be like real blunt on how everything's been going. It's just the fact of it sucks that, you know, a mother, you know, cousins or uncle, it sucks that family members have to bury their son in this manner. It's borderline just like Emmett Till all over again. And like I said, a lot of these things that happen and that have been unfolding in America with police brutality over the course of the turn of the 2010s and so on and so forth has all been coming down to Jay said, did y'all see the segment on Daily Show? Not, I gotta check that out. I haven't seen that, but I'm going to check that out. Definitely gotta check that out. I'm pretty sure that was interesting. But I feel like a lot of these things boil down to, I feel like with a lot of situations like this, as much as a lot of people don't want to, especially a lot of people that are in the political sector, is that they don't want to take the politics out of situations and look at it from a human aspect. And you have to, because at the end of the day, no matter how you flip this situation, it does not make it right that this man, whether he was scared, whether he did something or didn't do something, the fact that he was beaten to a pulp on camera, and now this video is being posted on the internet for millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people to see, is traumatizing, it's heart-wrenching, and it really sets us back in us trying to push forward in regards to what we are trying to do to make situations like these either A, not happen so frequently, or B, if they do happen, we will be better prepared for the result of these situations. And it is just tragic that all of these similar situations have to happen, and it seems like it falls on deaf ears in the aspect of the response to them. I'm not against people protesting, but we already know you can walk till your feet fall off. But then what? What's the next step? And I feel like it comes down to, as we said, good old classic, you have to bear arms. Because I'll be damned if I get a phone call and they say my daughter was walking down the street or a cop thought she was suspicious. Next thing you know, she's getting batons upside her head and she either barely clinging to life or doesn't make it at all. And as much as you tell your kids, and this is just the parent side of me coming out, but as much as you can sit here and tell your kids or loved ones or family members, this is what you're supposed to do at a traffic stop, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the result of that traffic stop that you think is going to happen by telling your kids that. I'm going to tell my daughter 100%. Stand tall, stand in what you believe in. If you feel like you can talk your way out of the situation, do that. If you feel like you got to stand your ground, be a little more aggressive, do that. Because let's be real, in certain situations, you have to be wrong to be right. And I feel like when it comes to encounters that you have with police, that is a prime example. Enough is enough. I feel like a lot of these situations can be highly preventable. And the one thing that gets me the most, and this might ruffle some feathers, but as we said, bro, it's one thing, and I was talking about this with Cree as well. It's one thing that you choose to be a cop. That's one thing within itself. But it's
My
a
child gonna be
whole
a
nother
fucking
thing.
savage, bro.
Hey,
I'm
more
telling you right now,
power
my
to
child
you.
gonna be a fucking sad. My child's
More
gonna be a fucking Chris Dorner, bro. Straight up.
You see shout out to Derek Grace. He's one of the people that I really enjoy listening to his interviews and diving into his books. He even said it. He has his children trained to know what to do if he gets taken out or if he dies or if they gotta bear arms to protect the family. And he has a lot of kids. Like his daughter can shoot fucking 30 yards out with one eye closed. Like those are the kind of things that I want to teach to my child and my future children and just the people around me, that you cannot rely on this justice system to do things for you when this justice system was already designed to not do things for you. That's just like people trying to bend the rules that was placed to go against us in the first place. How are you going to try to bend rules that weren't even implicated for us to have a fair shot in the first place? You're walking down a one-way street in that scenario. So I look at these situations as parents, and I'm stressing parents. If you have children, especially children who are in those age brackets such as ourselves, like from 14 to 24, or even you can stretch that out to 30 now. If your child is turning into like the preteen adolescent stage, you need to sit them down and tell them the harsh reality of how these police officers treat people in the justice system. Now, get this. A lot of people are probably looking at this as um it said DL had the lawyer. Oh, I definitely got to see that. He had the civil rights attorney Ben Crump on there. Definitely have to see that. And a lot of people don't understand, it's crazy you said policing, because police comes from, it just basically comes down from the root word of policy, to where they're trying to put these policies and these rules and gestures in place, but they don't even follow their own rules and regulations or their motto to protect and serve. You aren't protecting nobody. And
Nigga, they had the
serving?
body cameras turned on. They had the cameras turned on. They didn't give a fuck.
Turn on. They didn't even. You see, and I'm gonna be real. You see some. Let's really be real. You see situations with some of these white cops, right? They'll try to turn their camera off or put a piece of paper in front of it, try to mute out the audio. They'll try to do that. These black cops think that just because they're a person of color in a quote unquote position of power, nah, you got the same chip on your shoulder as if you just a regular black person walking around these streets. You are no better. That shit is shameful. And it's even more sad at the fact that even though I believe Memphis is like 64% African American as far as like the population goes, but it's just a sad fact that these 5 cops did this and nobody thinks, twice about it. Like nobody, like you said, the Blue Lives Matter groups, they ain't saying shit. But let it be 5 white officers, they up in arms. They ready to go to the end of the earth. It's for them. And it's just sad because we've seen the Trayvon Martins, the George Floyds, the Breonna Taylors, the Freddie.
Just real quick on that point, it's like this is but the thin blue line crowd. So, this is a politician talk about her, Tulsi Gabbard, right? Let me.
Yep, I'm familiar
pull
with
this
it.
up because this is what I try to tell people about this bitch. She is trending. She's trying to hustle the white ignorance in America, the fucking Trump crowd, the police bootlicking crowd. She puts out this tweet. This is a couple days before that shit happened. Give me 1 second. I gotta find it because I found this shit so fascinating. And this is somebody. Look, I donated money to this bitch, and I wish I could get my fucking $50 back. I really do. I learned my lesson from this. Even I'm looking at my my feed right now. Even Boyce Watkins, this coon ass, is out here. I can't stand that nigga, bro. But hold up, here we go. I'm about to share my Twitter. Yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah, go ahead though.
Yeah, so while you get that up, it's just one of those things to where I feel like even a lot of the politicians, you gotta put that shit to the side. Put it to the side. Because if that was your kid or someone you knew that was in a situation like that, oh yeah, you would be ready to go out with a bang. And it's just like a lot of people are trying to throw politics into the mix, and even though we know it does have something to do with that, you have to just break it down to the nitty gritty of why these kind of things are transpiring.
And just to stop you real quick, this is what she said. Just got back from army duty and was disgusted to hear LAPD and other cities are banning displays of thin blue line flags, which honors the sacrifice of those who serve and protect, like my brothers and sisters in uniforms put their lives on the line. So do our brothers and sisters in blue. And my first instinct was like, yeah, you're right. She's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. Police do put lives, put lives on the line. They put lives on the street lines, on the pavement, when they're beating the shit out of them and murdering them. She's absolutely right on that front. This is goofy shit, bro. This is what I keep trying to tell people, bro. Like, these politicians, she went from she leans more libertarian. I'm not saying she is a libertarian, but she leans more in that mindset. They'll talk all day. This is my problem with these people who think
my
this.
fault to cut in. You said she just got back from army duty. She's an active duty member.
She's a what are they? Reserve. She's a reservist. So that's one of the things people was getting on her ass about. Not that she's in the military. Personally, I don't have a problem with people in the military, because most of the people in the military are poor and people of color. I learned that from homies and people in the military. And my guy Matt, Matt, I do the sidetrack stream with here on here.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that opened my eyes about that. But and Caleb Maupin as well. He's done a couple talks about how, like, if any revolution is going to come in America, it's going to be with the assistance of people in the fucking military, because they're poor too. But regardless, this is the goofy shit that I'm talking about, bro. They'll sit here and talk all day about authoritarianism. Oh, like, they're banning free speech on Twitter. White people can't say nigger on Twitter no more. They can't fuck with trans people and shit. But here you have you're talking about the LA fucking PD, bro. And I was like, I tweeted out, I said, what did I say? Hold on, let me go back. I said Vanilla Ice is affiliated, and I was like, Tulsi Gabbard mad that the LAPD can't bang their set no more. Oh, I'm so sad. Bro, that's some goofy shit, bro.
And when she ran for president, how far did she even get?
Nah, like, look, it's not about her running far. The fact that she came at Kamala Harris the way she did and sank Kamala Harris's battleship, I applauded her for that. But now she's turning around. Like, people forget, what was the basis of her criticism of Kamala Harris?
That's a good question.
What was the basis of that? Actually, you know what? I'll pull the video up. We on the internet. I'll pull the video up.
I know she touched the base on her work doing, what was she, district attorney or something like that?
She was a DA.
Yeah, DA.
Hold up. Because I need people to understand this. And especially people who still, because there's people who still support Tulsi because they think she's she's against the establishment, whatever bullshit they still believe about these motherfuckers, bro. But and this, I'm not doing this to shit on Tulsi Gabbard per se. I'm doing this to shit on this fucking goofy ass ideology that people have.
And another thing,
anti-authoritarian, while at the same time bootlicking police.
Yeah, it's like,
go ahead. What was you about to say?
And another thing is, because I was just peeping your feed and like the Twitter feed. And another thing that I hate, this is just me to a degree, because I'm not saying this to say that, oh, you have to erase your history and things that have happened in the past. But it's like certain things that have happened, then you in a way you can't 100% equate now, because one thing I will say is, no matter what the case was back then, blacks was trying to stick together. They were trying to make it happen. Like, we just spoke like the Black Panthers. Like, at least we knew that there was a group or a sector of people or Malcolm and his movement and stuff who were willing to throw down. And it's like, bro, that shit just went out the window. And it's like, I don't understand. It gets to the point to what else has to happen for people to wake up and realize, like, and even when it happens to people in our neck of the woods and things like that, because we even had numerous like hate crime incidents out here or use of excessive force out here, like the Jeremy McDowell situation where the disabled gentleman, I believe back in 2016, got shot to death in his wheelchair, and they tried to say that he had a weapon on him in his wheelchair, and come to find out he didn't.
I remember that.
And that situation just fell on deaf ears. Like, you hear things like that, and it makes you wonder like what else has to happen. And I always imagine, what if it was a police brutality case against like a senator or somebody of a high stature in local government?
Oh, that's when it's gonna
All
matter. That's when it's gonna matter.
that's when all hell gonna break loose. Everything gonna be
If a
locked
police
down.
officer didn't recognize Elon Musk and they beat the shit out of him within an inch of in his life, you think nothing's gonna happen? You think they're just gonna get prosecuted, or is that whole department getting shut the fuck down?
Oh, burning down. They're gonna get tore down. And I just look at it like,
no, they're not going to get torn down. That's when they're going to believe in defund the police. That's when they're going to believe in it. You're going to see white people saying defund the police. But hold up, this is Tulsi's claim to fame. Was this video right here that I'm about to play?
I'm all ears. All ears.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Hillary Clinton as the, quote, personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party. What is the rot you see in the Democratic Party?
That our Democratic Party, unfortunately, is not the party that is of, by, and for the people. It is a party that has been and continues to be influenced by the foreign policy. Taxpayers trillions of dollars since 9/11 alone, dollars amount of our
Senator.
Oh, sure. Criminal, and then spends full time during the course of this campaign, again, criticizing the Democratic Party. What we need on, and I believe I am back.
Continuing to traffic in lies and smears and innuendos because he cannot challenge the substance of the argument that I'm making, the leadership and the change that I'm seeking to bring.
Hang on, I think I put up the wrong video. Give me 1 second.
Now, is Tulsi a state representative or like a?
So she was in the House previously. She's from Hawaii. She was in the House.
Okay,
I've
so
talked about it, but I don't think people. Go ahead.
Oh, so she represents Hawaii.
I think that it's unfortunate that we have someone on stage.
Councilman Gabbard, I'll give you a chance to respond.
I'm trying to find.
Bring our armed forces and to make sure.
All right, I can't find a video. I'm not trying to sit through that whole 8-minute video, but basically the whole thing she criticized her on was her record as district attorney. All the people, look at Camel Toe Harris's face. That's what I'll be calling her. That's what I'll be calling her, Camel Toe Harris. But you still there, Josh?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. I got you.
It looked like you froze for a minute.
No, I got you on my TV screen too, so I was looking at the video as you're going along.
Oh, got you. But what she got criticized for by Tulsi was the cash bail system that she was implementing in Los Angeles and her record of locking up vast amounts of black men, right? And basically overall law enforcement. So now since she's left the Democratic Party, she's been doing shitting on any type of cash bail reforms, and it's in the form of like either trying to abolish it or like I said, reform it. She's been running around, like I said, doing this type of shit, bootlicking police, talking about the thin blue line and all that shit. And it's like, what exactly? Like, so I look at it as that was just a politician seeing a weakness of another politician and actually critiquing that person. No actual substance to this argument. And then people will make the argument all the time, well, there are a lot of black people who support Tulsi, this, that, and the third. I'm just going to keep it a bean with you. I'm going to keep it a bean. Those niggas are probably coons. I'm going to keep it a bean. Bro, you cannot be a fucking black man in this country that supports the police at this point. There's no fucking way.
It's crazy.
There's no way.
It's crazy because Creed said it, and it's crazy because he said, like, made it perfectly sense. He said, if you black, and not only you black, but you choose to be a police officer, I hate to say, but you about as dumb as a fucking container of Lincoln Logs. It's like you're already choosing a profession that was never made for you and have high numbers of racially profiling you and innocently locking away people that look just like you, but yet you
Even
think you
white
can.
people understand this shit, bro. They did this shit in Django. Remember when the whole thing for him to get into Candyland was that he had to pretend to be a black slaver, and he was like, "Bro, a black slaver is literally low than a head house nigga, and that's pretty fucking low, bro." And like, then the doctor was like, "Give me your best slaver," and they explored that shit in Django, bro. Like, yo, what the fuck, yo? That's why I find it so odd, bro. And look, I know black officers from being when I was younger. I was in the police league, but again, my family, you know, I would say are more of the MLK mindset, where let's just keep it a bean, assimilationism into white American culture. So I think you can understand this. Like, it's this mindset that so my family like is typical Democratic Party voters. They hate Republicans. They think Republicans are the most evil thing on the face of the fucking planet. All that shit. But then they'll turn around and fuck with the institutions of our oppression. You feel me?
And
I think,
and what are those institutions?
The police, the justice departments, the political structure in the first place. Like, bro, think about this. You saw what they did to Kyrie Irving for saying for making the points that he was making, right? We obviously saw what they did to Ye as well. We literally had like 4 Los Angeles County representatives calling black people monkeys. You remember that shit, right?
Oh, yep. They called
All that shit.
the disrespect. I forgot the representative. I believe she's a Muslim. I believe.
No, they were all Latino. They were all Latino. Every single one of them.
Was AOC included in that?
No. So this was the Los Angeles, their city. What do they call it? City,
city representative,
the city government. Yeah, the city
district reps.
Yeah, but they're not in the federal government. They're in the state government. But it's like this specifically the city of Los Angeles. I forget what the names. I'm drawing a blank because I'm kind of lit right now too. So I forget what the names of that shit is. But basically they got caught calling black people monkeys and all that shit, saying, "Oh, they're with them," talking about the black people and all this shit. Because I think one of their the other people, the other reps in there, they like it was a white person and they adopted like a black kid or something like that. Yeah. So they got caught saying this shit. One resigned. A couple of them resigned, but there was this one guy who wouldn't leave, and he wouldn't leave under the auspices of, well, I didn't say anything. I was just there listening. But it came out that he did say some shit. That was the nigga that was fighting the people at the Christmas party, John. I don't know if you saw that video.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. These niggas, that's why I'm saying, and I guess we could go into like a broader conversation here too, because this is a point that I wanted to talk about too. It ain't just white people, bro. Let's just keep it a bean. That's why I need to talk to my Latinos, the Asians, the Arabs, all these motherfuckers, bro. It can't be no kumbaya, bro. Real talk.
I don't know.
It can't be no kumbaya. Like, they running around talking about Asian hate when they capturing black people on videos with Asian people, videos that are taken out of context. So like there's been a wave of that talking about stop Asian violence, and they've been trying to tacitly frame black people as the main culprits. But what they never do is they'll show all these videos, but they never show the full context of what happened, where the Asian person was the instigator or aggressor in the situation. Yeah. But now that 2 Asian guys went out, there was 2 shootings in Los Angeles, I think, where the perpetrators were 2 Asian guys. You don't see that shit anymore. Mysteriously, you don't see stop Asian hate no more. You don't see it,
and it's crazy because to dive into that real quick, to piggyback off of that, so to get more deeper into those shootings real quickly, so apparently at a dance studio, the shooter was of Asian descent and he killed 11 people. Then a couple days later, another shooting happened. I forgot where it was at. But that person killed 7 others, but they arrested him. I even see the videos of arresting him. The first person died in a murder-suicide type of situation with the police. But it correlates. Everything correlates. It's a domino effect. And for you to say that it's I look at it like this: if people genuinely want to stick with you and work together with you, they would have already done it. Hence how you said that, we do have some allies. I feel like those things would already be happening. If a person just hops on the bandwagon now and says, and you do have people who do come out, and I won't say that to a 100% degree, because you do have people who come out the woodworks all the time that are big supporters and really want to stand with you. But I look at it now like you said, African Americans, whether you got to, sit down and have a deeply rooted discussion with our fellow Hispanic, people, or even if we do have to sit down with Asians or Arabs or Indians, Native
We already
Americans.
did that. I'm saying, y'all go talk to y'all niggas, bro. Go talk to y'all people, because y'all tripping right now, bro. And this is what, if I was to talk to them, I would say it like this. I'm just gonna put it straight like this: white supremacy breaks its tools when it's done with them.
Yeah,
straight like that, bro. That goes for Larry Elder too. That goes for Candace on all them niggas and the other ones too. Like, and this isn't a hatred of other groups. Whenever black people start talking like this, they take it as a hatred of other groups. That's not what I'm saying. But you see how shit differently. There's policy happening for other groups when this type of shit happens. We can't even get a fucking George Floyd bill, but we can get a Stop Asian Hate bill. We can get a Stop Trans Hate bill. We can get all these other things, but we can't get shit for us. But we supposed to come running whenever you saw how them white bitches was going crazy for the abortion shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying, nigga. Like they nah, bro. It ain't none of that shit. And people get mad at me for saying that, but it's like I'm tired of seeing this shit, bro. For black men, black people for sure as a whole, but especially black men are fucking under siege right now, bro. Like,
and my
real
thing
shit.
is, you got to understand the fact that all what they say what is, I think it's like all skin folk and kin folk, or however you say it. It's like, bro, you can be a house nigga, you can be a field nigga. Like Jay-Z said, you still nigga. Like he said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Nigga, okay, that does
You already
not
know where I'm
defeat.
at with Jay-Z.
No, I know, but I'm just using that as an inference because
I get you though. Yeah.
It does make sense. No matter how you slice it or dice it, you might get a little further than other, niggas or blacks, however you want to put it. But it's just like you're still that at the end of the day. Like you said, even if you're like a Candace Owens or a Larry Elder or Jason Whitlock, even y'all are on a short leash. It might just be longer.
You saw how quiet she was around Ben Shapiro when they came to that yay shit, right? You saw how quiet he wasn't her friend no more when Ben Shapiro was popping his shit on him. Oh yeah, Ben, I understand what you're saying, but when it comes to Black Lives Matter, you can't see no nuance in that shit. But when it comes to Jewish people, you see the nuance and you understand why he's censoring yay. That's when you understand. Man, miss me with that, bro. Miss me with that.
Yeah. And I just want to close out before I holler. I do want to close out. If I can just have a few minutes, just to, some closing remarks. When I want a lot of people to know, and especially and since Jason Whitlock wanted to bring up the whole single mother concept, I want to put a spin on that, but keep it on the single mother basis. But I want to put a spin on that. I want to put this out there to all the single parents in general, single fathers and mothers. It's tough. It is tough, especially raising a child with this fucking political climate that we're dealing with today.
But it's tough when you broke.
Oh yeah, it is. But
yeah, go ahead. My bad.
No. You're right. I agree, and it's crazy you say that because it is tough when you broke, but also when you broke, what else can happen? You know what I'm saying? It's like, think about like the pandemic. A lot of us were asked out, so it made us start to think like, okay, I'm at rock bottom, but damn near everybody in this world is at rock bottom, so it don't feel as lonely or as bad as just me being at rock bottom, because it ain't just me. I want a lot of the single parents to really sit their children down and tell them the raw truth about, and not just as their kids. I don't give a damn if they're 18 or even if they're 25 or 35. You sit down and you tell them, I might not have all of the answers, but this is what's going on, and you need to understand what's going on, because if these situations come to your doorstep, you just better be ready to open that door, because you never know what's going to be on that other side. And if you just stand there at the door, don't open it up, they're going to open it for you, and you're not going to like what's on the other side.
They are not playing with niggas right. I keep trying to tell people this, bro. They are not playing with niggas right now, bro, at all. And you got these niggas both on the liberal and the conservative side going along with whatever issues it is. So you got the liberal side going along with this trans right stuff and LGBTQ stuff. I don't have a problem with that. I'm for those niggas having their rights. But right now, I'm focused on us, bro. Like I pay
You got
attention to
to.
I pay attention to geopolitics because I think that plays a factor in how different countries have implemented strategies to combat white supremacy. I think it's invaluable, especially to us here in the Black community. But other than that, when it comes to other people's issues, thoughts and prayers. Like I'm not, bro. No,
Bro, like
no.
my thing is, and let's really be real, bro. A lot of people, like, let's just boil it down to this. A lot of people in the Black community want to be worried about how somebody else's grass looks, but yours not even cut yourself. You cannot sit here and worry about what other.
I think it's worse than that. They trying to go cut somebody else's grass while they got grass growing everywhere. They trying to go cut somebody else's.
And it's like
that's crackhead shit, bro. That's goofy
and
shit,
it's like
bro.
you put all your effort into someone else's shit when you can put it into yours and get greater results, because another person's success or positive gains does not equate to your success. The journey they took is not the journey you're going to take. You literally got to mind the business that pays you and focus on what's going to better help you, because this might just be my way of thinking, but is there, in my opinion, there's no such thing as the game of life. It's more so the game of self, because life continues even when you're long gone. Nothing stops because of you. It continues. So you have to play the game of self. What are you going to do for self to make yourself be in a better spot than you were yesterday? And that's what I take away from this whole entire situation in Memphis, is that what's being shown has already been known. But the only difference in what's being shown is how you react to it. Because everything that you're seeing, we've seen time and time and time again. Now it's time to take action so we can get the results. Because let's be real, situations like this is still going to happen. But when you start to take the appropriate actions when these certain type of situations arise, you're going to get way better results. And let's break it down into like real nigga terms. You need to bear arms and protect yourself no matter what and who it is. Because what Malcolm X said, with freedom comes death. And that's just, you can't flip that slice of dice in no other way. You have to literally be 10 toes at all times and just be ready for anything. Because a lot of people, I want to read here what Camilla Nelson said. Excuse me if I mispronounce. We as Black people need to be together. The Blacks that are in higher places need to be a part of our progress, equality, and protections in the U.S. And before you give your input on that, bro, because I am gonna slide up out of here, but I'm gonna still be within the, of course, the show. But to piggyback off of that, that's great and all, but that should have been happened years ago, because now we're going into a transitional phase of those Blacks that are in those positions are tiptoeing with them just to try to fit in, because they look at it as can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
And it's like when it comes to situations like this, you cannot have that mentality, because you have to go against the grain. You have to go against the grain. You can't, you can't roll with the current. You're going to get swept away with the current. You have to go against the wave. It's like you're trying to get a reaction out of something that was never meant for you to get a reaction out of. All of these freaking things and systems and things that are implemented, that are put in place right now, were never designed with us in mind. They thought of us as three-fourths of a person. We weren't even one whole human being in the eyes of other ethnicities, especially whites. So what makes you think a political system that they helped build, design, and put in place has any general interest to us? It doesn't. So I feel like instead of people trying to push the whole narrative of, oh, such and such, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for if people people of color want to go into these positions to try to implement it. But a lot of people want to hurry up and look at the above hierarchy, meaning presidents and government. You have to start at ground zero, ground level. You don't build a building from the sky down. You have to start from the ground level up. So that's why I tell people, if you want to really see things start to shift, look at who's running for district representatives in your area. Look at who's running, and that I agree with as well. And not only financial literacy in the aspect of just financial education, financial common sense as well. You have to let it be known that certain things might not come to you. You might get disapproved for a loan. you might not be able to go get funding without jumping through certain hurdles or doing certain more things or stretching out your arms a little further because of the color of your skin. Those things are sadly still in place to this day, but it's not impossible. So I look at it that is, but that I do agree. Financial literacy is extremely important, but also with financial literacy, you need to have historical literacy as well. There is no way that African Americans should not know. You don't have to always reflect on the past, but there's not no way that you don't know things that have happened and what's going on now, because you always have to be in the know of now. If you don't know what's going on right now, how can you know what's going to happen tomorrow if you don't even know what's happening right now at this very
Even not even
second?
just yeah, not even just like I'll throw this in before you dip out, but
Mhm.
because I'm gonna talk about this like a little bit before you dip, but or after you dip, I'm gonna talk about this more. But like even something like African history, period. Like you see Ron DeSantis, like
Mhm.
banning these classes in Florida about African American and African history as well. And it's like, bro, like I've been doing a lot of research about Africa and black people's history, like black people's place in world history. They are currently and still, committing erasure of black contributions to the world, which is plentiful, bro. Like I'll tell people this something like this, like the whole one of the things I've been reading about lately is the whole debate over Egypt, because you have a lot of, and this is what's funny, you have a lot of these liberals and even progressives that scream Black Lives Matter all day, Black Lives this, da da da, but then they'll turn around and shit on like niggas who identify as Hotep for saying that ancient Egypt was African, for example, right? And it's like this whole you could present as much evidence as you want, but because some of the hoteps be saying some wild shit, they be saying some wild, and I do agree. Some of them niggas be saying some wild shit, but the basis of what they're saying, they just completely ignore that, and they call it Afrocentrism. Basically, this idea that black people are trying to steal everybody's culture and make it their own because they don't have their own history. This is like the ideology that liberals and progressives are adopting from conservatives, but they're using a different strain of it. And it's like reading about African history, bro. Like when you read about ancient Greek history, when they pull up statues and shit like that of ancient Greeks, does anybody question whether it was the ancient Greeks that the society comes from? Does anybody ever
Mm.
question that?
Mm.
When people when you talk about Sumeria and you talk about all of these Babylon, all of these ancient Arab civilizations and societies, does anybody ever question whether it was the Arabs that built that? No. But why is it that when you have these highly advanced civilizations in Africa, we don't attribute it to Africans? You got people literally like in the these old European texts and everything, that academia, that current Egyptology is still running off of. You have a lot of these like Egyptologists, the fathers and founders of Egyptologists that were literally saying that the Egyptians were Negroid Europeans. Literally saying they were black European people. Nigga, what, bro? And like literally, and people don't realize that when you ignore the evidence that people like Sheikh Anta Diop was presenting. I'm going to be talking about his book. I actually just ordered a lot of his books. He was a African historian, like accredited as fuck. He went to all of the top schools in the world and everything, but he had this mentality of, we need to stop allowing them to steal African history and give it to either themselves or give it to other people, whether it's the Arabs, whether it's whoever it is. And that's not the shit on Arabs, that's to uplift our people. And it's like, it's crazy. Like you saying that, they look at you like you're crazy, bro. You can show all the receipts in the world for what you're saying, and they'll still reject it and call it crazy because of the propaganda they've been fed for centuries about this shit. So that's one thing I wanted to. I'm going to be talking a lot about African history on the channel coming up. I know it's not necessarily like like American history per se, but I want to be talking about that a lot on the channel because I've been finding a lot of this shit fascinating, bro. Because it's like it's crazy when you read a lot of the academics like views on the African continent's history, bro. It's the most racist shit you would ever read in your fucking life, bro. I'm telling you right now.
No,
Like
it
your
is,
jaw will
and
drop.
it is, it is. And before I go, I do want to, for people that are in here, I just want to throw some good tools because shout out to Jay of how he said, black community, especially the young black communities, learn financial literacy. I just want to throw some things out there before I go, just some tools that you can use. I tell people all the time, YouTube University. If there's something that you ever want to know about the truth, look it up, Google it, do research, deep dive. There's also an app that's been going around that's went viral. It's called Burrow. It's on Roku. If you have a Roku TV, if you have a Roku player, it's called Burrow. It's a collection of conspiracy themed type documentaries ranging from celebrities to political figures, the overall economic and political systems in the country, and just how they're rigged, and other from other people's perspective and thoughts, and get into the know of what's going on. Yeah, you might not be able to trust everything that's on TV or the news, but there's other independent outlets that you can follow, such as American Autopsy and other good ones that you can literally just dive into to catch up on everything that's going on in today's news, and educate your kids. The same thing that you're doing, have your kids sit with you. With my daughter, we sometimes watch different things on African history and stuff, and it might not be her cup of tea now, but you have to know these things to know where you stand today. And other than that, just be on your
I'll say
toes. And
Jay said this: Black history makes certain people uncomfortable. No, it makes white people uncomfortable, bro.
Yeah.
It mostly makes white people uncomfortable. That's
because
what it
nothing,
is.
the Europeans was nothing but a bunch of invaders.
Literally, bro. That's why it's like I find it so funny. I find this shit fucking hilarious, bro. When they talk about this, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, da da da. It's like, nigga, you stole everybody's boots, bro. We don't
Yeah,
got
like
no
which
bootstrap. You
straps? You
stole
stole the
everybody's.
boots. You stole the strap. You took my socks. I'm barefooted. Like
Nigga, you took the end of the fucking shoelace that nobody knows what it's called, bro. You took that too. Just cause.
it's crazy. It's it's,
Just
it's
cause.
it's it's just like Christopher Columbus. He discovered America. Nigga landed on modern day Puerto Rico, and it was people there.
And it's like, nigga, it's like the Vikings were over here before that nigga was. Another group of white people was here before they was.
And shit. But before I go, I want to appreciate you and thank you for having me on here too, bro. It's always a blast to be on here.
Yeah.
A couple
Hopefully next
people
time
that
it'll be more,
Mhm.
I'll plan it better and earlier next time. We can have a couple people in here talking. So
Oh yeah, definitely gonna do that. I'll be more than happy to be back. Just if anybody ever needed tools and resources out there, Real Black, REEL Black, wonderful YouTube channel. He's done interviews with the likes of Dick Gregory, Dick Gregory's children, Paul Mooney. He even posts old clips and just historical interviews and things from a whole wide range of, Black history. Even if you look up interviews of Dick Gregory, or who I've just been deep diving into, James Baldwin, who a lot of people sleep on in regards to his political views.
no,
They
they
just look
they
at
they
him.
ignore him. They ignore him, unfortunately, because there's a strain of black people because of religion and whatever other fucking reasons don't fuck with gay people, even if it's their own. But I
Mhm.
get not fucking with the gay people's movement in terms of like their political movement and getting policies done because they sacrifice our shit. Um, the policies that we want put into action for the sake of theirs, but overall rejecting who a person is, I'm not with that shit.
Nah, I
Like
agree. I agree.
I'm not with that shit. That's some bullshit.
And yeah, but James Bond, he's that's crazy you say that, because I watched the interview where they asked him the same thing. Like, do you think people look at you differently because of your sexual identity and things like that? And it's just crazy how he was, because he responded in an honest way. But James Baldwin, Dick Gregory,
Fred Hampton, looking to Fred
Fred
Hampton a lot.
Hampton, Dr. Sadie, of course, Malcolm X. You have everybody that's been a part of the
Even
Black
somebody like
Panther.
Marcus Garvey, I don't necessarily agree with the conservative elements of him, but overall, in terms of a black liberation person, definitely read Garvey as well.
And even in today's time, even though I'm not the hugest fan
Oh,
of
you
the
know who?
NOI,
And I know you probably don't. You probably don't. I don't know if you know about it. Paul Robeson. Look into him.
the actor.
Yeah, look into him. His story is fascinating. His story is so fascinating, bro.
Definitely have to look into him. And also even like I said, I'm not a big fan of the NOI, but some people who I do like in the aspect of what they're teaching in regards to financial literacy and things like that towards the youth. You have Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to them.
Just don't follow Boyce Watkins, bro. Boyce Watkins is talking some bullshit right now, bro. He on Twitter saying some bullshit, bro.
It's like, certain people need to stay in their lane when it comes to certain things, because
Yeah,
they just
he need to stick to telling people to buy crypto and stocks and pushing his NFTs. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Go over there with them, bro. He
um
wanted them to go over there with them, bro.
But Earn Your Leisure, shout out to them. Those are one of the first people I started watching in regards to financial literacy. Earn Your Leisure. Um, you have oh man, there's just so many. Derek Grace, who's one of the huge people I like to watch for a lot of reasons, and just like historical stuff, like old
Jay
interviews.
funny as shit, bro. Jay funny as shit, bro.
I can't stand the way he looked. It's like the way he talks sometimes. Just
He said my dad was a cop, and he said this was definitely personally motivated. I'm like, oh, your dad was a cop. Makes sense why you are the way you are,
bro. But you already know who be rubbing me the wrong way, low key. It's two people, you know,
Mark
Roland
Lamont
Martin
Hill.
and Mark Lamont Hill. Oh man, they be. And Mark Lamont Hill was mad as shit when Joe Brown was getting on his ass, and he was tight.
Yo, Joe Brown was on his head, bro.
He kept trying to cut.
I'm about to watch the Candace Owens interview he did, because I'm pretty sure Candace Owens probably sauced his stupid ass up. And she be pushing. She's scared. She'll never debate somebody like me, bro. Ever.
I know. We know
ever.
It ain't gonna happen. But definitely appreciate you having me on, bro. I'm definitely gonna be on the next one. Appreciate everybody that was tuned in, and all of y'all, please keep up with American Autopsy, because these are the times where you need people like him. You need people like Caleb that's really out here pushing, whether the message to you is positive or negative, whether you agree or disagree. These are conversations that need to be had, and things are changing by the minute. You have to be on your P's and Q's, and American Autopsy is definitely a platform that's going to keep you in the know of what's going on, whether you want to hear it or not, or even if you agree with it or not. It's a good open platform to just dissect everything and just let everything out at the same time. But I'm gonna head up out of here though, bro. Appreciate you for having me on, and I'm gonna definitely still be tuned in though. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Peace. All right, y'all. So that was fun. I had my guy Josh on. Next time I'm gonna try and get more people so we could do like a real panel, like real shit. Actually, you know what? You know what I'm about to do? I think I tried this before and nobody hopped in. I'm gonna throw the link in the chat. So don't come on here on some goofy shit. Don't come on here with some goofy shit, bro. I swear. I will never do this again if y'all come on here on some goofy shit, bro. I'm gonna throw the link in the chat, in all the chats. Y'all can hop, whoever want to hop on, bro. First come, first what is it? First come, first served, whatever. I'm gonna throw the link down there. Whoever want to hop on can hop on and talk to me about whatever, bro. Actually, hold that thought. I'm gonna go. I gotta take a piss. I'm about to go use the bathroom real quick, and I will be back. Your boy is back. Like I said, I threw the link in the chats. If you want to come on, come on. Like I said, don't be on no goofy shit though. But yeah, great conversation with my guy Josh, man. That was a great conversation. But yeah, man. It's a lot of goofy behavior online nowadays, bro. A lot of it. And it's like I just like it's just so stupid, bro, because it's like I said, like black people are, we're the largest economic base in the black diaspora, bro. Like we have options, but the lack of unity limits those options, bro. And it's crazy. That is the recurring theme with black people worldwide, internationally. Lack of unity. The world, not in an imperialist sense or a conquering sense, but a metaphorical one. The world could be ours, but we don't got the unity to do it, bro. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And one of the things, like, just continuing on, like, I've been using the term model minority on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Twitter a lot. And like, I'm not doing it to offend other groups. I'm doing it so other groups can go talk to their people. Cause y'all niggas been out here tripping, bro. Real talk. I'm gonna talk to y'all about this, about why. Yeah, it's like the whole Asian hate thing, bro. The whole, like, this tacit narrative of black people being the perpetrators of Asian violence, when statistically it's not true. Like, statistically it's white people doing it. Like, bruh, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And then, like I said, the LA Council thing. There was this one video I had on TikTok. I saw on TikTok. I saved it. I forgot to queue it up on here, but I may actually play it on another stream. But little Spanish joint going to sit here talking about fucking shitting on reparations for black people, bro. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. You want to steal money from your fellow Americans? Bitch, you are not American. You are an immigrant, bro. I was born here. I've been here. My people's been here since 1619, my nigga. Oh, bro, it's getting spooky out here for niggas, bro. And this is another point Dr. Claude Anderson says, is that you don't want to be a super minority in the United States, because we're slowly, black people, we're slowly drifting to being a super minority, in the sense of we have no power. Other groups who in numbers are less than us have more power in this country than us. You don't want to do that. You don't want that to happen to you. I don't know how we turn that around. I don't know how we work on that. I mean, look, I say, the points I agree with people like Dr. Claude Anderson on and others is, becoming producers rather than consumers. That's one thing. So, and I think, like I said, I think it's two people. I think it's not two people, two things. I could probably think of more, but two things I harp on all the time that black people just need to eject from their psyche. We need to abolish it from any type of thought that we have. And that is religion and capitalism. Those are the two things we need to fucking eradicate from the political lexicon when it comes to black people and solutions for our communities. Because those two things have brought nothing but destruction and chaos, in my opinion, to our communities. And it's like, until we reject both of those things, I don't see us going anywhere. Like, for me, I think the model, the blueprint for, a black community or a black society eventually, hopefully, is, I think the blueprint for that is what Thomas Sankara was doing in Burkina Faso. Let me see. I was watching this video. I know Compton J from RBN That's the Revolutionary Blackout Network. Shouts out to them. They do great work. He was watching this video where they talked about Thomas Sankara and Burkina Faso that I found interesting. This is a little African shorty. She was talking. Let me see if I can find it because I subscribed to her recently, so it should be fairly easy to find it. Give me 1 second. Because the shit she was saying was just like, it was stuff I knew, but to see it presented in that way was definitely interesting to see. Damn. Hold on. Here it is. Now, it's this African girl that did it. Her name's Adiola Fion. I think that's how you say it. I'm about to pull it up right now. Now, give me 1 second, too. And we're going to watch that. And then after that, I may hop off. Your boy is kind of hungry. I literally had a wing. Off, then woke up and had a chicken wing. Literally a. All right, I'm about to pull this video up. This is it's an older video, so be mindful. I guess nobody want to talk to me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and watch. I'm gonna watch this video, then I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna watch this video with y'all, then hop off. Chris H. Mark Lamont has some good positions. He lost his position on CNN because he was pro-Palestine. Yes, but at the end of the day, Mark Lamont Hill, Chris H. Mark Lamont Hill, and Chris H. is my guy. It's one of my guys. He was on he's still pro-liberal though. He's still pro-capitalist. You know, if your speech is at the end of the day still serving that machine, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it sucks what happened to him. You know, you can use that as a reference point for the tyranny that the Israeli state cast even here in the fucking in America, bro. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to say because to me, Mark Lamont Hill wasn't saying shit for black people personally. That's how I feel. That's a motherfucker I would want to debate too. Like Mark Lamont Hill is milk toast at best, bro. Milk toast. So that's where I'm at with that nigga. Oh shit. I didn't get to talk about this with Josh, bro. It's like, so I was researching shit like, so if we abolish the police, what should we do for black people? What do we do? And it's like, I always find it funny how people can never think of solutions when it comes for us, but they can think of solutions for everybody else, or they could find, whatever. But so before we get into that Thomas Sankara video, I just want to show y'all this shit because I found this shit amazing to watch, bro, or to see. Because I'm like, you'll hear conservatives and their conservative lapdogs all the time, talk about, oh well, black people, they're afraid of crime too. They don't want to see crime, blah blah blah. But they never talk about this shit. And this is the fucking damn, man. New York Times is a bitch, bro. Fuck. Yeah, I ain't paying them niggas no $1 to read this shit. Fuck. Hold up. I'm gonna just read the Wikipedia shit. I'm gonna try and find this article for the cheap, like, and when I say cheap, for the free 99. But in the meantime, we're gonna read this joint. This shit, bro, this shit will blow your mind. They can never think of solutions for niggas, but they can think of solutions for everybody else. They can think outside the box for everybody else. Shit is fucking astounding, bro. It's fucking mind-blowing, bro. It is mind-blowing. The Shamron Neighborhood Watch Group. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but fuck them. I don't care. Shamrim or Shmria, whatever, are organizations of proactive volunteer Jewish civilian patrols, which have been set up in Haredi communities and neighborhoods across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom to combat burglary, vandalism, mugging, assault, domestic violence, nuisance crimes, and anti-Semitic attacks, and to help support victims of crime. They also help locate missing people. Shamrim volunteers are unarmed and do not have the authority to make arrests other than citizens arrests. So they still have the ability to make arrests. I wouldn't be surprised if these niggas have fucking jails in these shits, bro. Because they'll tell you one thing, but you know when it comes to them, is that's not the full story they're telling you. So some Shamra members in the United States have been convicted of assaults and misdemeanors against people from outside their community. Yeah, because they go hard for their people, bro. That's not me uplifting, that fuckery, that bullshit. I'm not uplifting the same tactics that Israel uses, but what I'm saying is when it comes to the overall idea of community policing that you tend to see people always reject, and say, oh, that's not plausible. It's always plausible for other groups. Just remember that it's always plausible for other groups. It's just not plausible for you. This is a point I didn't get to make with Josh either, bro. And we didn't get to what I was talking about earlier. So when I said those list of names of white people that were victims of police brutality, I want you to understand that there was no riots like that for them. You had your libertarians talking about it and your more libertarian conservatives talking about it, but for the most part you didn't really hear people bitching about it. A couple like progressives and everything were talking about it and everything, but for the most part nobody was talking about that shit. My hair's a mess. It always is though, but for the most part nobody was talking about that shit. But those names, I'll read it again: Tony Tempa, Jared Lackey, Daniel Schaefer, Ryan Whitaker, Hunter Britton, and there's more. The Daniel Schaefer one is especially crazy because I remember seeing that. That was the video of the white boy the police shot when he was crawling on the floor and everything, like he was begging for his life, like on the ground, like he was an animal or some shit. That's what they did to their own, bro. They did that to their own people, white people. They did that to them. And as soon as you start talking about police brutality, oh, fuck out of here with that. So that lets you know you're dealing with people, a group of people that don't even give a fuck about their own, bro. They're willing to sacrifice their own so you can't have your own. Think about that. I want black people to think about that. And even other people, other groups, the groups that do partake in white supremacy against black people. Because white supremacy is not, other groups aren't they're subject to white supremacy as well. You see that with the Palestinians. You see that in our foreign policy, our foreign policy. You see that, it's not that these groups are immune to white supremacy. It's either it's two things. You have people that build their own communities around it. They build their own communities to combat it and build their own structures to combat it. I say that's kind of what China is doing, what Russia did as well. And then you have people that bend the knee to it, which you see a lot of like different groups in America doing right now. And so I want to talk to them too, to understand, again, white supremacy breaks its tools when it's done with them. What y'all need to understand is that they don't give a fuck about their own, unless it was like Ashley Babbitt or some shit. When there was a black cop, think about that. So you don't hear this uproar from from white people about one of their own. They still toting the Thin Blue Lives flag, but as soon as we start talking about ours, that's when it's a problem. It's about you not having shit, and black people. It's about us not having shit. It's about Asian people. Well, they cool with y'all because you bend the knee, but niggas that won't bend the knee. It's about us not having shit, bro. That's what it's about. So that's what you got to understand. Now extrapolate that to the macro and think about this conflict that they're trying to push with China, bro. If they don't give a fuck about their own on the micro level in terms of policing, you think they give a fuck about nuking the world if China's if they feel like in their brains this concept of China's taking over? You think they give a fuck about nuking the world if it stops China from taking over? Just think about that. Realize who you're dealing with, bro. Realize who you are fucking with, bro. You are fucking with savages, bro. Yo, you are fucking with savages, bro. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't even give a fuck about their own, bro. They're literally Tupac at the end of Juice, bro. I don't give a fuck about Raheem. I don't give a fuck about you. Shit, I don't give a fuck about myself, bro. That's what you're dealing with right now, bro. You're dealing with Bishop right now. You're dealing with White Bishop right now, dog. bro. That's what you, nigga. How many white kids died in fucking and I'm not saying I'm advocating for gun control or anything like that, because obviously I'm not, from what I said in this stream, but how many white kids done died from school shootings and shit like that, and you don't hear a word from them about any, bruh. Realize what the fuck you're dealing with, bro. Hold on, Chris, what you say? Everyone in alternative media is advocating for Ashley Babbitt, but not Tony Temple or any other Euro-American killed by the cops. Facts, bro. Facts, bro. Jay, you right. You right about that. That's what I'm saying. Black people need to get this concept of religion out their head, bro. I'm telling y'all, dog. Even the Africans over there, bro. Because like the more documentaries I watch, the more you see like a lot of us have been allowed the Arabs and the Europeans and all these other groups to beat their religions into, bro. Get that shit out your head, bro. I keep trying to tell y'all. Because they've adapted to theirs now. A lot of them don't even necessarily believe it. Even like the white Jews, they don't believe that shit. They don't believe it, but they use it almost as like it's like a business. It's like business almost. Religion is business now at this point, bro. It's religion is transactional now. That's what it is. It's transactional. Only like the super evangelical white people believe that shit, or like the supers in whatever group believe that shit. That's how I look at it nowadays. Like, get it out your head, bro. That's them. Let them do them, bro. So, but yeah, I need y'all to understand, and I'm going to keep harping on this. Remember who you are fucking with, bro. Remember what you fighting, who you're fighting against. They don't give a fuck at all. They don't care, bro. They don't care about their own. They don't care about you. They don't care, bro. And you need to understand that. I hope y'all understand that. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and watch this video I was talking about Thomas Sankara, because this right here is the prototype that I think Black society should be built off of. About to pull it up right now.
Down to Burkina Faso. Yes, please give it up.
And she kind of extra, but the information here is solid. But like she extra as shit on here though. I will say that. So just be warned.
For my Burkinabe people. Yes, for taking down a dictator that was in power for 27 years, and he left the country worse than it was when he took over. You know that Blaise Compaoré tried to change the constitution in order to extend his rule. Hey, the people said no, enough is enough. About 1 million of them showed up for protest, including women, old and young. Honestly, I give kudos to the women. I tell you, never underestimate women with wooden spoons. You know, do well, Jare, my people. You see, this is how you do it. I've been telling people, this
bro,
is
this
how
the
you
extra
do
shit
it.
I'm
Those
talking
are the
about.
kind of spoons
Sure,
that
get to the video.
You get what I'm saying? But you know, not in Burkina Faso. These people did not compromise. They stood their ground in the face of tear gas. In fact, more than 15 protesters were killed. Yet, these people did not relent. They set the parliament building on fire. While the president was having a meeting trying to change the constitution, they set the thing on fire. They also set the homes of some of their senior officials on fire in Ouagadougou, that is the capital. The president fled, and you should be glad that he fled alive. Yeah, so hopefully though, and this is the most important thing, I hope that the
I think it's also worth noting that Burkina Faso, I believe they just passed like some type of legislation to kick the French out, if I'm not mistaken. So they're moving in the right direction. I think they're moving like that's one of the things Thomas Sankara was about. But yeah, let's get back to it.
The new president would do well by the people, because what is the essence of having a revolution if there is no real change? So hopefully the new president will do well by the people. And you know, this is a major breakthrough for Burkina Faso, considering the fact that 60% of the 17 million population of Burkina Faso is under the age of 25. So those people, 60%, they've never known any other president other than Compaoré. Now, if you're wondering why I'm so excited that they finally got rid of Compaoré, well, let me remind you that Compaoré was the one that got rid of one of the best, if not the very best presidents that Africa has ever had, Thomas Sankara. May he so rest in peace. Sankara took over power at the age of 33 after a bloodless military coup. The first thing that Sankara did was to reduce the salaries of all the ministers and all public officials, including his own salary. He took away their luxurious cars, Mercedes-Benz at the time, and he made them drive regular cars. He himself was driving what do you call this thing? Okay, that thing, that was what he was driving.
So you see that shit to y'all niggas, y'all fucking black capitalist niggas out there? Ain't none of that, bro. Ain't none of that. This is honestly one of the things I respect about him the most, bro. That I respect about him the most, because what he was trying to do was, and this is like my personal analysis of it, it seems to me like he was trying to abolish the concept of hierarchies in Africa, and especially like economic and political hierarchies, which we call class. That's what he was trying to abolish. So he was doing a great job of combating that.
Anyway, no more first class. All officials had to fly economy. Not a single special preference was left for these officials. He put an end to colonial taxes and embedded in his people to stand against colonial mentality. He took care of food. He took care of housing. He took care of healthcare for his people. At that time, several African countries were dealing with disease epidemics, but not in Burkina Faso, because he provided vaccines for polio, measles, and meningitis. In 1 week alone, 2.5 million people were vaccinated. His government was the first African government to publicly recognize the AIDS epidemic as a major threat to Africa. He was also one of the first head of states in the whole world to promote women's rights. Yes, the very first African leader to appoint women to major cabinet positions.
So to all you black red pill manosphere niggas, yeah, pay attention. This for y'all. This for y'all.
Ce qui veut dire que nous devons donner à chaque femme un emploi. Nous devons donner à chaque femme le moyen de gagner honnêtement et dignement sa vie.
He creates a real shock by being one of the first heads of state in the world to promote women's rights.
You guys can watch that documentary on YouTube. It's a wonderful documentary about the life of Thomas Sankara. Yes, he stood against forced marriages, underage marriages, or even expelling women from school if they got pregnant. He was like, if you have to expel the girl, what about the boy that got her pregnant?
I was like, God bless you, my brother. She didn't do it by herself now. Thank you, Daddy.
When it was Women's Day, Sankara announced that women all over the country should not go to the market that day to buy anything, that their men should do all the shopping, and that they should let all the women rest that day because it's Women's Day. And you know, the men also enjoyed it. For the first time, many of them got to know the price of pepper, the price of okra. They actually appreciated their wives more after that experience. And
hey, yo, Chris, yo, we got Chris. Hold up, let me pull my face up so you can see. We gotta talk like outside stream, bro. Just like off stream and off camera and shit. Because you be having some great ideas, and I just want to communicate with you about them. So, hit me up on Twitter. Send me some personal information I can hit you up on, like voice chat, whatever, bro. Because I'm trying to like communicate and bounce ideas off you, and whatever, bro. Just hit me up, bro. Because you be having I like this comment right here that he put up. Suggestion: you got to check out. I can't pronounce that. He is a Pan-Africanist prepping for the Great Reset, but he is in pro Marx. We'd love to hear what you think of. Yeah, bro, I'll definitely check him out. But like I said, hit me up. send me something I can hit you up on Twitter or anything, so we could just chat, bro. Because like you have some really interesting ideas. But let's get back into the video.
The story was reported all over the world. Also, men were no longer allowed to beat their wives. He also instituted mass sporting activities. Everybody had to become active and participate in sports in order to keep fit and healthy. That was Sankara playing basketball. People were riding bicycles, and he had a
Trash him on the
campaign
court,
then
though,
that
bro. I'm sorry, Thomas. RIP to that man. I would have trashed him on the court, bro. A lot of y'all niggas can't see me in basketball, bro. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I may be a big nigga. I'm a big nigga. I trust me, I'm a big nigga, but guess what, bro? You bro. That Jimmy crazy, bro. My jumper crazy. That's why I'm a shooter, bro. You feel me, dog? Don't play with me. I go Curry on y'all. I go full Curry on y'all. Don't play with me. I be talking crazy sometimes, bro.
healthy body and healthy mind would reduce diseases. He also took environmental issues very seriously and insisted that they plant 1 million trees in order to encourage reforestation. God knows that we need that right now in so many places in northern Nigeria. He also constructed vast roads and railways and connected all the major cities together. At that time, they didn't have much money in Burkina Faso, but instead of relying on foreign aid, he told everybody to take part, and people were so glad to take part in building the railways and the roads.
So this is important. This part is important right here, especially for Africa, the rejection of foreign aid. This is important.
Didn't have much money in Burkina Faso, but instead of relying on foreign aid, he told everybody to take part, and people were so glad to take part in building the railways and the roads. He actually discouraged his people from relying and depending solely on foreign aid. He also insisted that Burkinabe produce their own goods, and everybody, including officials, had to patronize Burkinabe products. Yes, so clothes.
So this is the kind of the pushback. But this is why I would like to have a conversation with like some of the FBA ADOS people who fall in line with like Dr. Claude Anderson's teachings, because in my opinion, it seems like it's more conservative based and capitalist based. But here you have a guy like this for those that don't know, like you should know at this point, this is what socialism is. Leading building towards communism. This is what that is. So I reject this aspect that we have to mimic, the capitalist nature of our oppressors and other groups to make it, when here you had a guy that was implementing these things, these socialist principles, these anti-capitalist principles in his country, and was on his way to building a great society. But the black capitalist elements within his country, as you're going to see by the end of this video, were the ones that took him out. So yeah, it's about division, definitely within the black community. But the division has always been about how to structure black civilizations and societies. Because you have one group that wants to structure them to benefit the people overall, and you have another side that wanted to benefit the elite, the rich, the profit centers within a country. So if that's what niggas is trying to do, what black people is trying to do, I ain't with that shit. This is what I'm for.
Food, everything, all made in Burkina Faso. They were producing their own food, wheat, and he facilitated good irrigation and fertilization programs.
I'm
gonna rewind. I'm gonna rewind the video a little bit, but this is shit that Russia's doing. This is shit that China's doing. Venezuela. This is actually Venezuela. This is good for them, because the reason why their economy was so easy to take out, not because of the fucking all the bullshit you hear Western economists and people telling you, it's about the fact that they were importing a lot of shit. So that aspect of what the economists are saying was true. They didn't diversify their economy properly. They solely relied on the oil markets to fund, to be the base of their economy. Whereas they had to import food, they had to import all of it. Like this is shit like this. This is what these countries around the world are doing now, and countries that are winning, countries like China, countries like Russia, countries like Iran, like they're looking into being self-sufficient and producing their own shit. And this is what Africa needs to be doing as well, and black people need to be in America. we need to be thinking about these things and how to structure our societies and communities here as well. So I'm gonna play back the video. I'm gonna rewind the video a little bit. It's just a little bit, not too much.
Faso. They were producing their own food, wheat, and he facilitated good irrigation and fertilization programs.
Nous nourrir. Nous pouvons dépasser même notre production, malheureusement. Par manque d'organisation, nous sommes encore obligés de tendre la main pour demander des aides alimentaires. Installe dans nos esprits ces réflexes de mendiant, d'assister. Produire plus parce que il est normal que celui qui vous donne à manger vous dicte également.
Because the one who feeds you, let me stop and say that for the niggas in the back. The one who feeds you, usually imposes his will upon you. No pun intended, but food for thought.
People started seeing made in Burkina Faso products just within 4 years that he was president. And in less than 4 years that he was in power, Burkina Faso, that used to be very poor, this same Burkina Faso became food self-sufficient. I'm telling you, it was a major revolution at that time. Corrupt officials were tried in court, and the funny thing was, no lawyer was allowed to represent them. So you had to prove yourself guilty or not guilty in front of everybody, and it was televised. So a lot of people were disgraced by this approach because they were not allowed to pay lawyers to represent or defend them. So many people criticize this approach though as a violation of human rights. Now, at the OAU summit that time, Sankara even challenged other African leaders to stop relying on the West or the East. Listen to him.
Nous avons suffisamment de bras et nous avons un marché immense, très vaste, du nord au sud, de l'est à l'ouest. Nous avons suffisamment de capacités intellectuelles pour créer, ou tout au moins prendre la technologie et la science partout où nous pourrons les retrouver. Produire en Afrique, transformer en Afrique et consommer en Afrique. Produisons ce dont nous avons besoin et consommons ce que nous produisons au lieu d'importer. Le Burkina Faso est venu vous exposer ici la cotonnade produite au Burkina Faso, tissée au Burkina Faso, cousue au Burkina Faso pour habiller les Burkinabés. Ma délégation et moi-même, nous sommes habillés par nos tisserands, nos paysans. Il n'y a pas un seul fil qui vienne de l'Europe ou de l'Amérique.
And he was only like 33, 34. Just imagine that. By the way, Burkina Faso was named the Republic of Upper Volta at that time by the French, the colonial masters. Sankara was the one that renamed it as a Burkina Faso, which means the land of upright men. He also commissioned several housing projects for the less privileged, and he was out among his people, always, relating with people. He was not untouchable. You know how nowadays our leaders in Africa, they have this long convoy following them, and everybody has to get out of the way. No, Sankara was never like that. He related with anybody and everybody. This man took Burkina Faso out of misery in less than 4 years. Of course, the French, did not like that they were losing grip of their former colony, because he stopped borrowing money and he stopped relying on their foreign aid, and they wanted to make sure that other African countries don't follow his footsteps. You get what I'm saying? In fact, all those that were benefiting from Africa's underdevelopment at that time, they were not happy to see Burkina Faso rising, becoming self-dependent. So guess what they did? They sponsored his very best friend from childhood to overthrow him. I'm talking about Blaise Compaoré, the same man that has ruled Burkina Faso.
This is what happens. That's what happens. The capitalist interest within the country rallied around his own fucking best friend to take him out. Continuing. Sorry, fucking around. Hit the wrong format thingamajig.
Faso for the last 27 years. So on October 15th, 1987, Sankara was killed by Compaoré's armed men. How ironic that Blaise himself was overthrown in the month of October. Just imagine what a coincidence. Compaoré's men killed Sankara and 12 other officials with a shower of bullets that dismembered Sankara's body completely. So they hurried and buried him in an unmarked grave, like a goat. There was no ceremony for Sankara's burial. They treated him like an animal. His wife and 2 children had to flee the country, and Compaoré immediately reversed nearly all of Sankara's policies. He was never repentant, by the way. He actually pretended that he was not the one behind the whole thing. The only thing he said was that, well, Sankara had jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial masters in France. I was like, what? That's the reason for you to kill the guy? Compaoré rejoined the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, and he went right back to being a puppet in the hands of France. And once again, what would have led to true self-dependency and freedom in Africa was quenched by this man. The question is, would we learn a lesson from Burkina Faso? I mean, all the African countries where corruption is being celebrated today, can we learn from the Burkina?
So yeah, I just thought that video was fascinating, and it's like, to me, like I said, what Thomas Sankara was doing for Burkina Faso to me is the blueprint for how Black people worldwide should be structuring our communities, and in Africa, that's how they should be structuring their society. But overall, hopefully in the future, this is how we should be constructing a Black civilization. So yeah, with that being said, y'all, I've been going for about 3 hours now. Your boy is tired and hungry. Guys, thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you again to my guy Josh, the CEO, for pulling up. Just gonna plug the show one more time for our dip, guys. If you can, it would help if you could contribute to the show however you can. Via Cash App. I have a Patreon as well where I got some content on there. Just show love on there if you can. It would be greatly appreciated to help keep the show going, keep the lights on, all that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy what I had to say, bro. Thank you so much for tuning in, showing love as y'all always do. Chris H, we're gonna talk. Thank you to everybody that tuned in, yo. Thank you and peace. Be easy.